Okay, so today I'll do another game of classical, and this is mainly what I've been doing with chess lately. So every session, I guess I'd end up doing like only one game, and then I could mess around with something else because doing more than one seems like sort of bad. It sets up a bad karmic kind of moment because either you won and you're overconfident, or you're burnt out, or tired, or just the nature of classical, or you kind of are tilted and you're whatever. Even if you lose, you're tilted. Like, there's no matter what the outcome in chess, that you always feel bad afterwards. You feel bad in a draw that you just wasted both of your players' time. You feel bad in a win sometimes that, it just is so stressful at times. And then you feel bad in a loss, obviously, that you just, oh, I could have seen it, but I just wasn't paying attention. At least at this level, I constantly am saying that. This part of the board gets a little annoying because it slides a bit, but that's just, once again, because my table is not necessarily big enough. So yeah, I'll do this again. It's permadeath, it's on Lichess, it's classical. If I fall below a 50 mark, I actually forget what rating I'm even at. Maybe I got to a 50 mark and I didn't even realize it because I won the last game. Like, it'll tell me, I guess. It tells you your rating when you go to queue up on the site, but it doesn't tell you uh your opponent's rating, which is sometimes a blessing in disguise. Right, there's like that add-on that maybe I would sometimes use to hide their rating, just so I wouldn't feel like intimidated or overconfident or whatever it is. Right, then you play down to your competition or you're psyched out. Like, there's excuses for everything. Like, if you if they're higher rated, oh, you lost because you're psyched out by them, you're scared. And then if they're lower rated, you'll say, well, I was just overconfident and I played down to them because they're worse than me, so I'm getting overconfident, like that. Like, there's, no matter what it is, you'll find some excuse. So, not to mention, oh, you could use the fact that I'm using this board as an excuse, or you could use the fact that, you're streaming as an excuse, but that doesn't really matter to me. Although, as a general observation, all these big streamers who have done chess over the years haven't exactly gotten better at it. Like, and I'm also following the touch move rule for what that's worth. So yeah, I'll have to see what my rating is. If it's 1750, even though it's provisional, I'll still count that. I should be getting away from provisional now, though, because I played at least a handful of games. And so I drew a couple, I won a couple, I lost one. And so I did not rush through the opening. That's been one of my bad tendencies. But no, my point is that, what was I saying? That, oh yeah, touch move rule is intact. So if I touch a piece, I have to move it. Kind of playing like an actual tournament vibe, because it's a tournament sized board apparently too. And not that I would know, because I've never actually used one or, really done a tournament in real life. I'll do it like Ray Enigma style and wear a mask or something, which they might not even really allow, but this one is gonna be a problem. Oh, come on. If I have to drag it up, it messes the whole position up too. God damn it. It'll do that for a while, but then it'll fall off and it can bug it out a little bit, but I haven't lost any count of that, at least. Potentially making like a move that I didn't intend to make. Yeah, we'll go ahead. We'll start in a second here. Let's see if we got to 1750 or not. And if I did, then it's a big challenge because I'm 1731 and I don't think I've been to 1750 yet. Then that would mean the problem is it doesn't tell you your highest rating when it comes to provisional ratings. Like, oh, it still says my highest rating is 1700, but it's not, like, on the nose. But it's not, because obviously I'm 1730 right now, and I've been a little above it in a couple of these sessions. So what it tells you is that it tells you that, oh, it says I'm online too, even though I'm not really online, because I'm looking up in a browser my Lichess account, right? Just logged out, but it says I'm online, I guess, just because it's connected to the board here, or the app, or whatever it is that I'm doing. So let's see, there's never been a point where I've been over 1750, I don't believe. If you look at the last couple games, I'll even tell you the games here. Unfortunately, we don't get the best feedback and visual for this. So I started playing classical again, my first classical game in maybe like a year, or maybe even over a year. I played it on like a week ago. So I won that. Okay, so I won a game against like a 1538. Then I lost a game, but these are casual, so these didn't even count rating wise. So I won the first one casual, lost the second one casual, lost the third one casual, lost the fourth one casual. And because I was on a 3-game losing streak, I felt confident enough to risk my whole account and play a rated game. But then that one I did win. So I won that one. I got 54 rating from 1620 to 1674. And of course, that's the provisional boost that you're getting. And then I won the next one against the 1717 rated, and and I got 54. So then I went from 1674 to 1728. Then I drew one, and we got exactly 0. But then I drew another one after that, and I got 5 for it, right? Which is unusual. Normally in a draw you might get like 1 or 2 if they're higher rated or something, but somehow I got 5. That's partly due to the provisional boost as well, I'm sure. And then yeah, I was as high as 1728 there, 1733. Then I lost one that I kind of botched in the opening, I guess. So 33 was my highest. Then I went back up to now 31 after winning the last game. So I lost the next to last, and then I won this one. So my record is pretty good actually so far, but it's just like I can't tell how well you can really judge this. And of course, people don't like classical in general because they feel like, okay, we're queuing up Lichess 30-minute game, rated, classical. So what it means is that people say on one hand it could mean that people are cheating. On the other hand, it could mean that whatever, just like less people play it, so it's harder to find a match and it's kind of less competitive that way. But and of course it doesn't show actually their rating, which is annoying. I like starting as white actually a lot more because then I feel like I don't have to rush the opening because, or I mean, I feel like I can rush it and I don't have to worry about it. But like, because I don't want it to abort or have something messed up that way. But my point is, as black, you are under a bit more pressure, so it's much more prone to messing up. All right, so let's just get immersed in it, concentrate. That's the main value of a tool like this, is just the immersion factor, not anything else. It's not going to help you play better. It's not going to, really affect anything. It's just like, oh, and you got a bit of a light glare potentially here, which I can't really help. But maybe that's even a nice effect too. But yeah, I'm not claiming this setup is very visually good. It's just the bare minimum to show this off, and it almost makes me want to do like other unboxing type things. Just because I like that first session where I was actually doing that, and it's kind of an immersive look at it. But I don't really get stuff like this very often. So, but in the future, if I ever do, I should do that, like a PS unboxing or because I had gotten the PS5 or the Switch 2 or whatever it's gonna be that comes out now. Or even like with a physical copy of a game, if I get like which nobody really does those anymore, but like a GTA 6, physical whatever. So there's a danger immediately, I think, if you push this pawn, then I take, you take, then you push, I take, you take, I go back, and then you can kind of basically trap it in there, but you still couldn't trap it in there, but just to be safe, let's just do it anyway. And so now you have the ability to let that free up. Sometimes in the opening I am meandering like this, where I'll just make it take a very long time to simply do something basic where all you're really trying to do is develop, but you shouldn't rush the opening is the point. Because, if you make a mistake here and then that affects the whole game, which it often will, right? It will make that big of a difference. Look at that glare though, this sun, that's insane. Now you're hitting that. I could do it with the knight, but then they could still guarantee some sort of thing. See, like, why move the pawn there rather than the knight? Like, to cover here instead, because if you do that, then they push this, then I take, and then they're threatening this, so then I have to move the knight, and then they're still able to potentially threaten that. So if I take this, I take, they still take. but it's still in my nature typically to just take anyway. So like I don't care, which again, it may not be a good move, but when there's this much pressure going on in the center, you just shouldn't risk it to me. Like just get rid of it. It'll be less of an issue for you later. I can't take that, so they can block off that diagonal kind of, but they're more inclined probably to they're probably more inclined to raise it and block the dark square diagonal. So I can give a check here if that serves some purpose, which it really doesn't seem to. I think I should probably just castle again, move the king first, and the reason why is because it might bug out with the registering. It'll make it register as a rook move instead then. They have 29 minutes. I have like 26 minutes, I guess. I accuse myself of rushing, but then I end up, I'm always down on time anyway. I can pin that down, which I probably should do, and accept the fact that the light square diagonal might be better than the dark square diagonal, and the reason why is because they'll probably raise the pawn here. Seems to be the more natural thing. They could block that off too, but I guess I'm comfortable with this. I could also have just given like a cheap little check for free development, which is always good, but it doesn't really matter, or I can pin that down now. To some basic extent, you got to remember the potential threats for later. And the reason why, okay, he's going to do that. That one H file is kind of annoying how everything's sliding off, but and my table's not big enough for this tournament size board apparently. Or it's like turned in the wrong way. I guess it would be big enough if it was facing the other direction, but so like the part of it that has the buttons on it, like the power button and stuff and the lights, that's actually hanging off the side, but it doesn't seem to affect it adversely too much. So now if you were to put like one more pressure on here, you'd be in very good shape. And the reason why is because you're hitting this, you're hitting this. So if you... There's a lot of good stuff. Like if I double stack, then oh no, they put the rook there, so now they can unleash or something. But in reality, it's the opposite, because if they move the bishop, if I like take, then they take, then I could double take and mate because the knight's gone. If they take with the pawn, then I can always move and just correct it anyway. But there is something to be said about the amount of pressure that you're putting on here, and the reason why is because you have this pin that's not really a true pin. See, now they almost have no choice but to do exactly what I'm saying. They have to cover that again, right? They have to cover the bishop, so they have to move the rook to cover it. And then if they do that, I guess the better move might be to move the knight here to the light square and then cover it. But if they move the thing there, then I can take. Then they have to take with this pawn here, open the king. Because if they take with the bishop, then I can double take. I can take their... I take their rook, I take their queen, or they take my queen, then I take their queen with my rook, and then I mate them right there, because that's also a back rank mating possibility. It's a very difficult, tense situation that we put them in. Yeah, the whole beauty of this, though, which is the only real value of it, despite the magnets not really working and letting your opponent's piece move, which is what I wanted it to do, but again, I guess for this price point, I couldn't have expected that. But the reasoning behind it is, I can't really tell what they moved. Is it the queen or the rook? I assume it's the rook. But when the lights are like that, it's kind of a little hard to tell. Now, you can immediately take and guarantee something. And the reason why is because, again, like I just said, they have to take with the pawn. Because if they take with the bishop, they're pretty much screwed. And the reason why is because you're going to have a mating threat. Not just a double take threat, but also a mate threat. So they see it, but now, I mean, that in itself is satisfactory because all you have to do is, and they don't have like a really good unleash to do with that is the point. So now here's where you got to be relentless and just put a certain amount of pressure on the thing, on the, on that, but I don't have anything else good to do. Like if the knight's not really doing anything, so I could go there, go there. I kind of should probably move the other knight, but I don't, somehow I don't care. But no, now it's important not to get greedy and not to overdo it. So they can unleash their thing, but they actually can't do it. That's the thing. They might move their king in actually closer to, but they still can't do anything about it. In fact, they missed the one cover that they could have potentially had where they, oh no, now they could do something about it because you could just like give the check. Well, you're setting up for a mate. If I give the check now, they move there, then I move the knight, and then they'd like move the rook then. So maybe if I do it first, right? So we do it here, and then now they can move the bishop, and it's actually fine. But that's not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about check and then mate, and the reason why is because, okay, I don't really see what that does at all. You got to remember my light square bishop is still sitting there, but it's not really relevant for right now. That would have been a very elegant moment, and I can at least put a certain amount of pressure here. Right, like I'm playing very aggressively actually here, which is not my style, whether it be in classical or not. But especially in classical, you probably shouldn't do this. But I could take there, and if I took there, it doesn't really matter right now. Let me just do this. No, I'm making sort of quick moves, aggressive moves. I don't like really my style of play, but if it works, it works. So at the very least, you should lose something. And if you don't lose something, then you lose the actual... you lose the actual ability to... I don't know. Like I put in a little bit too much into doing this, where now I could like check with the knight there. I'm not doing the touch move in that case. I'm just showing you, but like I do it and then they move up and then I have to cover it. And then if I come in, cover it behind there, then I'm not, I don't know. That seems like an intuitive sequence of moves, but what if I just trade it, for example? I could take and oh yeah, that would make more sense. Like I can completely guarantee something good. I take here and I check. Right? I'm still tunnel visioning on the mate idea, but you don't have to do that. That's the thing. So now you're in check, and then I also get to take the knight. Period. So that's it. Like whatever mating potential I would have had is out the window, but it doesn't matter because you're going to be up material. That's how better players play, I guess, in a sense. Like they won't actually use a threat to win the game, but they'll use the threat to get some sacrifice or compensation, and then they'll win later on. Like you're never just like outright mating people super early on like that. And so again, you're in check, I get a free knight, and then it's gonna take a while still to really materialize this, but it's okay. So I have the light square bishop, and I have the ability to yeah, I mean just take, don't even have to think about it. Now you gotta watch his light square diagonal, I gotta watch mine. He can take the pawn actually with no reservation, right? I can accept that. So I'd want to give a check here, but I have to be careful because of the simple fact that you have that knight is still not developed. So in the act of doing that, I would take, they would take, and then there's some sort of cheeky back rank shenanigans going on. And so what I want to do is I'll just go here. This seems like the simplest path because you're still covering the rook. You're not putting yourself in the pin of the bishop. You're hitting a pawn, I guess, for what that's worth. So like you're in a good centralized spot. I can give a check also from here. So there's a lot of good things I can do with that. You take with the rook, I'm very inclined to trade. But let's just hypothetically say if I didn't trade. You shouldn't do that because you shouldn't just sit on a double stack and just let it sit like that, right? Where you're able to... I could give a check, but the problem with giving a check is that you got to stay kind of hungry in the course of a game too. Like I get satisfied too. I'll often outplay my opponent, but then I'll get complacent or lazy or whatever. So the knight is still not developed. So this is actually a very stupid position to have allowed myself to be in. But I'm thinking if I give the check from here, then they can't block, or they could actually block too. But it wouldn't matter. I could still just deal with it. But the point is, um, I would, but you also see you got to stay invested and try to keep going above and beyond instead of just being satisfied. But even when you're up material or something, but then you also can't overdo it and overpress, and that's often where you get humbled. Like, you'll try to attack, you'll try to stay on the pressure, and then you lose so many games because of it, or at least you lose winning positions and it turns into a draw or whatever. So then you don't try to, you stop trying to do that. Basically, is the point. Um, right, you get sort of discouraged, and that's kind of the right mindset, I feel like, at a low level, because you don't know what you're doing anyway. But I'm down to 19 minutes. He is at 27. I got to get one of those clocks, like I said, but I'm not worried about it right now. So you could have the full physical, visual feedback as if you were in a tournament. I can keep hitting the clock on both sides whenever the appropriate turn is there. And so you have the ability to consider that. It's like I'm trying to do something above and beyond here, but I don't know what exactly it is. So if I take the... just take the rook, I mean, there's nothing to worry about. Right, there might have been something better there, but... And the point is now I should almost be able to take the pawn for free, but I can't because... then they'll give a check here, and yes, I can move, but then they'll start doing cheeky stuff with the queen. That's going to be a problem, so I better watch out. And so now they can either take with the pawn or the rook. You might think, oh, they'll take with the rook because then I can take the pawn. Like, or I mean, they'll take with the pawn, so I can't do that. But I got to develop this stupid knight, as is the knight's often specialty, is getting in the way of everything. Right, because you're simply able to, it's just blocking my own material here in a way that is very dangerous. And so one of these times I'm going to make that mistake, though, where I drag the piece and then it ends up messing me up. Like, where it'll register, like I'll drag the rook and then I'll put it there by mistake because of this. That it, it gets confused if you don't just lift it and put it right on where it needs to go. And again, that's an understandable feature, honestly, but there should be some kind of grace period or some room for error or whatever, but it's fine. And yeah, this pretty much clinches that I'll never get chess up, because the next thing I would get would be something with the actual magnets for your opponent, to move for your opponent. And so what that does is you're able to, I'm not going to get chess up because it doesn't have that. So even if like next year or sometime in the future, I would get something else like Chestnut Move has that, or one of the other products by this company, or just something else that would actually have the magnetic quality to it, which this does not have. But again, neither does chess up, or maybe by then they actually would have it. But so I see I could potentially take that pawn there, but this check is not something I want to allow. I could give a check here, but it doesn't do anything. And so the logical thing to do is, I don't really see a path for the knight, is my problem. I'll go here. There shouldn't be any problem with it. They have this pretty strong diagonal coming up. Not that mine is too shabby either, but it's sort of hard for me to explain what I'm doing. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I'd play classical, but I didn't say it'd be the most instructive experience. Or for now, I'm not really comfortable doing that. Like, it's enough just to play, but I'll try to make it a little more instructive as we go on, and I'll also try to do it in such a way that, I mean, it seems like an easy move just to give it a check now to... I feel so unthreatened, though. I can almost just take a free pawn and that would be okay, right? Sometimes you have to think with that aggressive mindset, but I can give a check and it doesn't do anything, nor does it really improve my position. But I don't see what it does for them either, in terms of, like, they'll bring their queen in, but they can't really even bring their queen in. I'm almost tempted to like just take that pawn just to punish them for what they're doing, but I won't. But giving the check, they'll just move, or they could even block, and so it doesn't, in fact, it would even give them a prime chance to come to there in a way that maybe I don't want them to do. And so sometimes, you're thinking too small, like, oh, I'll get this little pawn, like that really matters at this stage in the game. But it's hard to say. Sometimes that will be the right move. If I give a check, I don't know what it really does for me, but I'll do it. Gotta play careful every move, 30-second rule that I implement, which is pretty practical for the most part. Even in the opening, I have to take an extremely long time sometimes where now it opens up a check on the back ring that's kind of cute. So I could almost force a threefold repetition, but not really because of the rook. Okay, see now this gives them a spot to do this in a way that... But doesn't this sort of force the queen trade? Not really, though. Because the problem is this allows you to have too much pressure now on this pawn with the light square diagonal that we have going on. And so the reason is that if I give a check on the back rank, there's nothing they can do that would prevent me from coming basically back to where I am. So now I'm just giving sort of useless, stupid checks. I wouldn't mind trading the queen. If we look at the material, they have a rook, a bishop, and a queen. I have a queen, a bishop, a rook, and a knight. So the knight is the extra piece, but it's not really doing me any good for the time being. We give a useless, stupid check. Okay. Now, if I just come back, or I could attack it like with the knight. But see, getting my thing caught out here could be a big mistake because now their queen will come in and I'll be screwed because I won't be able to do anything. Right? It'll just be that simple. So the queen should stay active in this way that you're able to like go here. So now it stops the... Now they'll raise this pawn, they'll attack this. Like we already kind of know what's happening, but I might not really even be able to stop that, to be honest with you. Or I could like raise the pawn and then I'll have to watch out for the queen's diagonal coming in. It's weird to be so worried about their light square bishop when I have the light square diagonal too, but it's just the circumstances. Mine is not really available, but as soon as they move that pawn, it will be. Right, this is sort of the duality of the bishops, is that you can't... you know, you can make a temporary move here that's pretty good. That like, okay, I can bring the knight here, and oh, it's like a pseudo octopus knight because if you move this pawn, then I could take the rook for free. But the problem is that, and it's also attacking the rook. But the problem is in the long term, right, that's not really doing anything, but I guess I'll be satisfied. Or if they take it with the bishop, I'd be fine with that too. The problem here is my own bishop is not really very good. And the reason why it's not very good is because... I don't know. It just that one pawn is in the way, so they might do a simple move like, okay, they might just take it, which I'm happy with that. They might also bring the rook in front. If they bring the rook in front, I can check them and trade the queen. No, but I can't. I can check them again from the dark square. And then that's one of the things I hate most about chess is the degenerate back and forth checks that you just keep doing over and over. And sometimes that's the right thing to do, or sometimes you're baiting for a trade, or sometimes, you know, it is sometimes the right thing to do, but it's just boring as hell and stupid and annoying, and it feels kind of like a troll. And also the one thing I agree with Kramnik on is the fact that that move is sort of like letting me off the hook, honestly. One thing I agree with Kramnik is that flagging isn't really very fun or interesting to do because it's like, yes, it's part of the game, but it doesn't really matter. Like, I wouldn't take pride in that if that's what it comes down to, especially online where it comes down to like clicking speed or, oh, I have a better gaming mouse or some stupid thing. Like, it doesn't really matter, dude. Now, he could come there, which would be extremely crazy with the queen. Right, you could come there, or you could also, assuming I take with the queen, which I kind of want to. If you come in front, I could take... So I'm still covering that square, though, so it doesn't matter. Right, so there is no issue here. They have so little material, you shouldn't really worry about it. But my extra piece now, the bishop is not doing a whole lot for me still, unfortunately. So if you bring the queen in a very cute move, what it allows you to do is it wasn't lighting up before when it was sliding off, but now it is. Like, once I'm moving it correct to the correct position. It's somehow harder for me to do commentary like this, too. Like, I'm kind of at a weird angle, and like this setup is maximum level scuff, but I still like it. This has been fun. It's a good excuse to return to classical anyway. Okay, I'm fine with that too. I mean, you can keep going back and forth like this forever, really. If you really want to, bro, you can do it. So now the queen's path to come in is pretty much cut off by their own rook. And so now what you can do is you can basically... I'm just not seeing a whole lot that's going on. Like, this is a pretty stale position, but it shouldn't be a draw if I just remember that my bishop exists and I actually find a way to actually use it, which I'm not doing at all. But I don't know exactly how to exactly reintegrate it in here. It's not a bad diagonal, but you got to target this pawn, and it's giving me trouble doing that. That doesn't even bother me. I could create a double stack, or I could take the open file. I don't see which one is really more or less valuable now. If I try to double stack attack it, they could cover with the king, or they could cover with the that's a tough decision. Like, really, should you take the open file, which at this point doesn't seem to actually do a whole lot, but generally it's a good principle to follow, or should I double attack this? I'll try to double attack this. I'm not really playing this like a classical game, or like how you should anyway. So they can easily deal with that, but I have the bishop as well, so maybe I could go here now with the queen, and then we're double attacking that as well. So we're just, again, leaving one threat after another after another. So if I do this now, his queen can't really come in very well still. So we go here. I might be trying to do a bit too much here, and one of these moves I'm going to make a mistake, but I guess this is how you got to do it. If you trade queens, it favors me heavily because obviously I'm up material. Trading in general, you would think would do that, but also when you're in an aggressive position, you shouldn't trade because you should be trying to mate them. So it's kind of hard to explain that sometimes. Like, you're up material, so you should try to mate them, right? Because you have that advantage, or you're up, so you should just try to trade everything, and then you'll win because you're up a piece at the end. Like, that's more my philosophy. But now what you have is the ability to consider that, first of all, you can take this as a free pawn. And the reason why you can do that is because you you gave up the cover there, and I don't see what else this opens up for you. If you move it there, I can still take. So that pretty much blew up in the position. You're also triple attacking this. You're also, yeah, everything's fine now. You go here, you go there. Yeah, that made it a little bit too easy for me to liquidate and just trade everything off. Go here, which covers up the light square bishop. I could take, they could take, I can't take the second time. So I'm not entirely sure about that. See, I still feel more comfortable if the queens are off the board, though. Somehow that makes me happier than anything else. So even though I'm up a piece, I'd be happier if I was just up the piece, period, or, you know, they have like a knight left and I have a bishop and something else. Right now, the fact that the queen is still there is pretty annoying because I'll be trying to trade all day, and I'll get triggered if they don't allow me to trade. I could take the pawn here, and I'll let them do whatever they're going to do with this, with the actual and yeah, see, now you have to worry about these stupid checks. They'll keep giving spam checks and either mate me, like here they could potentially mate me, or they'll win the game, or I mean they'll draw the game by just doing repetition checks over and over. So you have to worry about that even when you're in seemingly a good position, right? It's just annoying as hell how this works. So that's all they would have to do. Like, they can go here and they're setting up for, oh my goodness, I'm gonna mate you, because literally this square, it's sort of a bait on a back rank idea that, like, oh, it can't be a back rank because I don't have the three pawns, right, that you typically need to get back ranked. But technically you can if the queen happens to be right there, even without that other pawn. So you have the ability to, again, I can't really trade. This would turn it into a passed pawn, so I see no good reason really not to do that. The problem is by doing that, you would open up, once again, the ability for them to check, and then they could also take a pawn. So I guess by that logic, I should take with the queen. It doesn't open up anything better for them, I don't think, so. Why is this one glowing now? Like, the far ones seem to be glowing. Okay, dude, okay. You go here, you give a check. What a surprise. What a big, amazing surprise. And so I could come out further. I don't want to go in because that could leave me vulnerable to, once again, a back rank sort of scenario. And so they may be able to give a ton of checks. These are the positions I hate to calculate the most because it feels sort of insulting to even have to do it, but I guess even grandmasters do it. Like, it's so stupid, but now they can't give another check necessarily. You have this good diagonal, but it's going to take me forever to convert it. So, like, effectively, I should win it, but these are the kind of games that I either lose or I end up drawing or I just get frustrated. And if it was a rapid game or faster, I would probably, flag or something. It's just very dumb. What I'm trying to do here with all my heart is I'm trying to actually trade, and they're not letting me. And the reason why they're not letting me is because they're just a bit of a clown. There's this back rank sensibility that they're trying to go for where you don't want to let them give that check, but I don't have a great way to even stop it. I suppose I could just go back to the back rank, I guess. There might be some sort of repetition idea here for sure. They have the light square check there. I could go back in. They could give another dark square check. Like, this could just go on forever. And I could do this. Now, in that case, aren't they obligated to take? Because if they don't, if they move the queen away, they at least have to stay attached. And then my light square bishop is attacking. So I'll go there. And then anything else they try to do is, they'll take the pawn, but then I'll mate them. Or they can't give a check any other way. So I'm comfortable with doing this. And the reason why I'm comfortable doing it is because, yes, oh no, I blundered a pawn, but you're attacking that. So they don't necessarily still have to trade it. But what they do have to do is they have to go to one of the squares next to it and at least wait because they have to keep the cover on there. I win, so I guess they just resigned, which I don't feel like they had to. Like, what if they just went there or there? Then they could still drag it out. I could give a check back there and try to turn it into something, but this is my problem in positions like this. It's a good problem to have that, like, oh, I'm always in winning positions, but I never take advantage of them. Like, look, it's good that you're in winning positions, but it's also annoying that they drag on, and I just hate those kind of things. So, like, between openings and end games, it's like you dislike every aspect of it. It's like some analogy that I make, like doing your homework so you can then get to something that you actually enjoy, or like eating your vegetables so you can actually get to dessert or whatever. So like you're trying to do the stuff you don't like the opening and the end game, just to get to the good part in the middle game or some aspect of it that you actually enjoy. So see, I shouldn't do another one now. Like, that should be satisfactory. And that one surely got me over, which it doesn't really reflect here. See, it still says 1731. That guy was 1826, which, I mean, man, these people don't really feel that high rated, but 29 minutes total taken, but not just by me. That includes my opponent. Let me see what rating I actually got to, and then maybe I'll do like an unrated rapid game. I'm not really sure, because I don't like doing more than one of these. If I look up on the site itself, what does it show? And the answer is 1771. So now that's a big red flag moment, and that's actually counting too. That it's no longer provisional. So what a time for it to do that. I break 1750, which opens up the permadeath format of, oh, if I fall below 17 now, I have to delete my account, which could still happen because I'm gaining or losing a certain amount, a significant amount with each of these. But it's actually counting in the overall rating too, like as my highest rating count. So 1771. And so what that shows you is that, I guess, how much did I gain for that one? I gained 40, and I did beat somebody like 100 rating higher, but still. I'm putting myself in a danger zone now. Hopefully, whether I win or lose coming up, hopefully it doesn't give me this much of a boost. Like, I'm satisfied with the boost that we got, but now it's getting scary because that means if I lost like 2 games, it could take me under 17, and that would count. Not just because it shows up in the overall rating, but I was going to count it anyway. Right, as soon as I get to 1750, I would have pretended like it's still a valid rating, and if I fall below 17, so that is kind of scary, but it also shows you how you can abuse the provisional boost in the sense that if you don't play for a while, like if you're stuck at a rating, then don't play for a while, and then you just win a couple games when you come back. Sure, if you lose, it'll come at a big penalty as well. But if you come back and you win a couple games, what happens is you end up you end up gaining a lot more than you would have. So you would have had to win 10 games in a row, whereas now to get a 100 rating, but now you win like 2 in a row and you get a 100. So, and then eventually if you keep up with that, it'll count. So sometimes the best way is to game the system and do that, which I wonder if you can do that in real life. Like just retire, like Magnus keeps doing on and off. And then when you come back, it'll give you more rating than if you had played on a regular basis. It's almost like a bad incentive to give people, but you know, whatever. It's a lot of effort to go through, but even again, you might say, "Oh, well, eventually it'll even out." But no, like there's no way you could gain this much rating, right, this quickly any other way. So by not playing for a long time and now coming back and playing, even if I would have won the same rate and the same number of games than the same opponent, it wouldn't have given me this much. It would have given me like 10 for each of these or something. So all the magnets do is seemingly repel the pieces from one another, which maybe serves a certain purpose, but I don't get it because it's able to not really move the piece on their own, which I'm still kind of bummed out. You would think with some sort of update or upgrade, they might be able to make this work with that, but I guess it was maybe too much to expect. The fact that, oh, it's $200 and it's rollable and it's all this other stuff, that it would also have that, but it's not like I cared about the rollable aspect. Like I almost didn't process that that's what it was. Some people really hate that aspect of it, but I'm never really going to use it like that. Like I guess I could take it from place to place. Yeah, maybe I'll do like one rapid 10-minute game. I really don't feel like doing another 30-minute. I mean, that's a good satisfactory quota, I guess. If I do one a day, or not that I even do chess every day, but for whenever I do, like that's enough to quantify the session. Or if I do a really long session, I guess I could, the battery would run out because it only seems to last like 5 hours on max charge. But I could do like a classical rated, then I could do like an unrated friend game or whatever against a viewer, or like a 10-minute unrated rapid game, and then I could do another classical game, like kind of break it up like that. I think I was trying to do that in a session before, but it kept bugging out, so I couldn't even do it for some reason. So yeah, I'll do like one more quick little one. That's fine. I like it as like, you know, you try your hardest one game and that's good enough instead of playing a whole bunch, like 100 bullet games or something stupid. That's kind of low effort. Especially at the low level, you should never think like that because it turns it into like a bit of a farce that you're not really taking it seriously, or you know, why even bother if you're just going to do that. So it sets up the wrong habits. Like you're just beating your head against the wall and you're kind of just doing it almost for show, and just you're just doing it just to do it, not with any real interest, which you might mock me in that way too because, oh, you don't study. But it's not even about studying. You just got to get immersed in it, like the way that classical can do. You get immersed, you try to take it seriously, you try to actually think about what you're doing, you try to actually self-actualize through it, instead of just treating it as a borrowed knowledge foregone conclusion that, oh, you have to study and do that to make any progress. Or again, even in faster formats, you treat it like, oh, well, you don't know what you're doing, so you just kind of flail around and embrace that and kind of make a mockery of it. Whereas here, it's like no matter how stupid you are or how bad you are, or if it's your first time playing, you can still kind of put a certain amount of thought into it and try to come up with something yourself in a way that it at least encourages you to try to do. Yeah, let's now do like a low stakes, just unrated like 10-minute game. But I almost like to not do it on Lichess, but I don't really use chess.com right now. And all the other ones, like it's like chess moves. I don't know what that even is that you're queuing up into. And even Square Off itself, which is this company's own board that I'm using. It's hard to either find matches there, or they're not really very satisfactory matches. So maybe I should just do a 10-minute unrated. But let me see if I can do that. I'd rather play it on some other form, right? Because we're doing enough with the chess as it is now, with between the tournament 10-minute format and between this. I would like to see if we can do something else. Open challenge, 45 seconds to move. But I don't know what that means. Like that's gonna be guy's picture looks like a mugshot or something. It's a case where 45 seconds per move, but there's no guarantee of like when those moves have to take place, or I don't really know. Like we'll make a random game 10-minute on the Square Off app itself. I mean, I guess everything we're doing is on the app, but yeah, this would be the one weak point that I would point to every time, is that again, there should be a screen on here, probably like ChessUp does have, where you can queue up for games and do it directly from there and see the clock and everything like that, instead of, you know, instead of saying that you have to use this app and use your phone, because basically the illusion it's giving you is like, okay, you get to I get to play online against somebody anywhere around the world, and I get to look only at the board. I'm moving my pieces on my side, and it's moving automatically online, and then I can see the lights to see what my opponent's move is doing, right? What move they made. So I never have to look at the screen. But pretend there was no screen, then I wouldn't have to look at that either. I could just look at the side of the board that would have the clock, and it would have the maybe the move list, the clock, and maybe the opponent's name, rating, all that information, and it would have a screen that you could like touch and queue up and stuff like that. I'm probably describing chess up, so that would be the main difference. But I don't know if it's really that big of a deal. It's just like that would be the one thing that, like, why do we really need an app for this? Right, that it makes it kind of a little inconvenient, at least as an option. People do keep challenging me all the time, actually. Which, again, I don't really get how this works, but a lot of the people that we've tried to play, either it's like too long of a format that you're never going to actually move, or... So my record on here is a little bit tainted if we were to look at it. But it's only because I've won 2, I've lost 1, I'm 1482 elo, but most of those have just been like people quit out, or I quit out, or I abort because it just doesn't work right, or I don't know what happens with it. Like, let me just try to challenge somebody, but then it ends up not really working. That's the problem. There's so many people online, but they don't actually do anything. Like they're just sitting there. Again, they could be using it in some other way, like on a different site, but they're still on here, so it might just show up that they're online. It gives up so quickly too. You'll go search for opponent, and then within like 3 seconds it'll say opponent not found. Like, bro, even on Lichess when I'm queuing up for classical, it takes longer than this. So why would you? It's Michael J. But the thing is that the thing is, okay, it's a 10-minute game, but now he won't make a move ever, and it'll abort, and it'll make me want to abort. Like, why do people do this? So like, it's the same guy who was challenging me with the mugshot looking profile. He was showing me he was challenging me to like a 45-second per move thing. Now he joined this for a 10-minute game, but then he's not moving. So what is this, dude? Why do people do this? So now he's gonna troll me and just sit here like, okay, I won't even abort, I'll just leave it. Or I'll have to power my thing off because I don't want to waste the battery, but like I'll just end off like this. Like, way to just ruin it. Okay, fine, you finally did something. Here I feel inclined to move faster, but it doesn't matter that much. I mean, you could say it simulates the amount of time it would take you to move the piece on a real board, but the difference is you have to move your opponents too, so it doesn't fully represent that. Right. It would take you longer, obviously, than playing online, especially if your clicking speed is really fast, which mine really isn't anymore, but... Go here, and then you just get to... I'd like to move my bishop. This guy's like 1200 elo on an inflated, weird square off app, you know, measurement, which is not really very good. And I'm apparently like 1400, even though I've never actually played in it at all. Right, like I've only done it to test it, or it didn't end up working. I don't think I really played like a full game in here. I might have even done one off stream, which I typically tend to not really like doing stuff like that, but I always consider it a philosophy, which isn't like, oh, I'm doing it for content or something, because like, why does it matter? It's not like I'm a known person anyway. But no, it's more like just philosophical. If I only have a certain amount of time to play stuff, then I only have a certain amount of time to stream. I may as well just combine them together. So like, anytime I do something, I may as well just do them both together. Right? If you're gonna, why set aside 1 hour to do something here off stream and then do another hour on stream of something else? Like, I'll just treat them as the same, because if I have so little time to do it, it makes you sort of appreciate that. So I'm down to 9 minutes. They're down to 9 minutes 40 seconds, but they should really be down a lot more because they're a clown who just AFK'd out like at the beginning for a little bit. So he seems to be using the board as well. Or no, it even says he's using the phone, so why would he even be on here doing that? Right, it'll show like your icon. So for me, it shows the board, and it shows my board's battery is in the yellow, which it seems to be that way always from the beginning even. Like even when I have it fully charged, within the first game, it's already down to yellow. Not just because it's classical and that takes forever either. You go here and then, sometimes I would take their knight with my bishop, and the reason why is to compel them to not be able to trade, or I mean not be able to castle. But in this case, I guess I don't care too much. Let me go here. So the possibility of a bishop pair here is pretty low. I don't really see a very good pathway for one, but yeah, I can't think of a more immersive way though to try to do this other than actually playing in real tournaments or real, people in real life, sort of thing that I wouldn't really do or I don't really even want to do. So it's kind of a weird thing, but it's shows you my commitment to this, that I've done this so much, and not that I really improved much at chess in the process, but I've just done it in so many different ways. I did it with the real physical board that you can kind of see in the background there, like a shitty, cheap, plastic, papery one. And then I did it with something else too that was like, I've tried like every site, but for the most part, those sites are all garbage. Like the other one, there's the monopolistic vibe of chess.com, and there's the one, challenger in Lichess, but that's pretty much it. There is no sense of, oh yeah, I tried that chess exclamation mark game that allows you to see it. It's still on your computer, but it lets you see a 3D board as you play, even while you play on Lichess. I've gone through so many different phases of it where you're trying to flesh it out a little more than what you would expect. Let's just develop a little more. See, for the most part, when you're using it, you got to be a little careful, but it's not too bad with registering moves and everything. So that doesn't matter to me too much. I'm trying to do something cute here, like with the knight, but the point is that if you create like a double diagonal and then you sack, you might actually have something good here. Yeah, I'm pretty weary about people challenging you on here because they always just AFK or board out. Like, I don't even care if I lose or whatever. You're a 2000 player or something, which this guy isn't. I'm just saying, like, I'm more bothered by people just doing that. Like, that's why I wouldn't do those tournaments on the chess for so long, because whenever I would try to do them, people would just AFK out and just do stupid stuff. So I almost wanted to push this, but you know what I can get away with doing is I can do this one. Because you can't take, and the reason why you can't take is because you are pinned, so I'll get like a free take when I was gonna be willing to push this one. Right, this just seems like a lot lower risk. Okay, it gives them not really a passed pawn, but potentially a good pawn position, and I don't know really why I did that then. We do get the little classic pink flamingo V-shaped structure that I always talk about. So I'll just do it. And from there, you also have the ability to, I don't know really what to do with my other knight. They're pushing here, and like when it's not satisfied with how well you move that, it stays lit up. I would take, they would take. I'm kind of staying fixated on this pawn a bit too much, but I I don't know. I could move the knight, but I don't really know where I'm moving it or why. Like, I don't have a good plan for it. I hate when it does that. Like, you know what I'm trying to do. You can tell. Okay. Like, I know I messed up a little bit. I touched the rook, but or I mean, I didn't fail the touch move rule. I just mean like they're magnetically sticking together, and that'll be like a piece evolution where you can have a knight riding on a tower instead of on a horse or something. Which in a lot of variants, you actually appreciate the horse because that's the one that you see the most dichotomy between, like a piece that can move like the bishop and the knight, or like the king and the knight, or the rook and the knight. But you don't see that as much with the rook and the bishop because, oh, a piece that moves like the rook and the bishop is basically like the queen, right? What couldn't it do that those two pieces combined can do? So in other words, oh, you combine the rook and the bishop and you get the queen. You combine any other piece than the knight and it creates just a very confusing shit show of a piece because that's what the knight is. It's just garbage and very odd. And so now you have the ability to, I don't know what's happening. But yeah, the knight just confuses and complicates everything, but it's useful at least in that context because on one hand it won't be too overpowered because it still kind of sucks, and then on the other hand it allows you to embrace certain things here, like you can embrace the zaniness of its movement pattern, you know, and combine it with anything else because it's so unique in the game that nothing else moves like that. Again, if you combine, oh, let's combine the bishop and the rook, or let's combine the bishop and the queen, but like these are things that already move that way or would just kind of overlap, right? So it wouldn't have as much value that way. And then you have the ability, I could move the knight here actually because it's pinned, but I don't see what it really does for me. Like I could even put the queen here and be doing that, like just because I'm getting restless, I'll do it. But it seems incredibly stupid because you can't take, and then I can take the pawn, and you don't have a very good way to cover it. A very risky, unnecessary move that I didn't have to do, but this is what happens when you get restless, which is often a reason why low-rated players lose, is because they do that. Like you could just play safe and boring if you really wanted, or you could play for a draw, but that's not really human nature, and you want to have some fun out of it. So that's the biggest misunderstanding at a low level in chess. It's not about whether you're winning or not, like whether you're good or not. It's about, or even understanding theory or openings. It's about like understanding the nature of the game, that, oh, it's a kind of dull and stale and drawish and boring, instead of, oh, it's actually, you know, you're trying to play like it's actually fun and exciting and something's actually always happening and action, and you always want to be trading and checking and trying to mate every turn and trying to do too much and overcommit and do like these home run type of plays. And you also are trying to play for an outcome, none of which is actually inherent to the game because that's not actually how it works, and it is meant to be stale and repetitive and drawish and whatever else. So down to 7 minutes, I'm down to 5 minutes again. I'm always down on time, although now at least I can blame all this sort of external apparatus that I'm doing that presumably my opponent isn't doing, but then again, he kind of is because, you know, at least if it's people on here, they might be using the same thing. But it shows that he's just using his phone, which I don't get it. Like, why would you be playing on an app just for this? Right, when you could be using so many other things, or bro couldn't get elo on chess.com, so he decides to go to square off abandonware type of app that nobody uses, that, you know, is going to be even more inflated than all these other sites like Lichess and stuff. Not to actually use the software here and the technology, the hardware, but just for that reason alone, just because, oh, he can't ladder anywhere else. Says me, but let me do this and then I can attack both. Although it's not like that knight isn't adequately covered. It's more than adequately covered. I could even take this here. Black will auto resign in like 40 seconds, so he's just left the game. So he joins. He's the one who challenged me, but not to this format. But then I queue up for this and he joins. So he's the one who wants to play, but then he AFKs out at the beginning of the game for a long time, and I just wait, and it doesn't abort, and then now he's gonna quit out a couple minutes, and like, you're the one who wanted this smoke, dude. And then you hide away like a clown that you are. Yeah, whatever. We did the one classical game, we did the one rapid game here, And this is the best visual representation you're going to get because both the webcam and the actual setup itself are not the greatest. But again, it's a gimmick that we're appreciating for gimmick's sake. I certainly have enjoyed it. Or was he just baiting me? You can't take that. That's annoying because I would have taken like this pawn with the rook, but I can't even do that now. So, but it's okay. You can give like a little cheeky check here. Or no. Shit. It's not even a check, so I might actually get trapped now. Somehow I thought that was a check with the from the light square because he had been on there before and then he moved because I self-pinned my queen. I'm trying to be like Ding where I'm self-pinning for immortality, but it's just waste of time. Okay, you move the queen up and then you have the light square bishop itself. And the reason why you have it, I mean, again, outside of me getting trapped with my queen, I'm not really too concerned about this position at all, but it's basically you'd have a check on the back rank that could be made. You'd have a potential take on the rook here. There's a lot of things that you should have. Oh, no, but you don't have it because I keep thinking my bishop diagonal is open, but it's not because he sealed it off a while ago. I'm just kind of taking that for granted. But you have the ability to hopefully trade something here. They can't actually initiate the trade because if they do, then I get to take the rook actually instead then. But now they'll let me do this and then they'll take with their own knight again, so I still can't take the rook. So they've sealed off that light square diagonal actually quite well. I can't really, argue with that. They've done well. They're gonna actually trade queens down, which is typically very much to my favor. Oh, which was even a big mistake because I could have just done the rook, right? Why did I even do that? Yeah, I'm satisfied with simple trades and shit like that where I end up missing what's actually better. I'm going to try to deal with this for sure. The reason why they have to do it is because now, otherwise if they keep going, I take for free. If they take here, it'll mess up my pawns, but I'm willing to do that just to get my bishop out now because it's just completely boxed in there and kind of useless for the moment. It's role-playing as a knight. The most useless piece ever in the history of the game. Although as much as I like Chaturanga, it always gave sort of better value to it where you have, some feeling that... Now this I know is bad because you're giving them some sort of pass pawn precedent, but it's unlikely they'll really be able to protect it or they can get like an octopus knight now. I just don't feel like anything's actually going to materialize from it. I can pull the bishop down and do something and... take there. You could attack this, and then what I'll try to do is I would have tried to bring the bishop down, but I kind of want to move the other rook out first before trapping it, but I guess it would have been fine. I could have gone there and then there with it. You push this, but you're letting me take the knight for free. Even if you think you're going to promote, I mean, I have plenty of chances to try to stop it. I have 2 rooks, even if you double stack, like, on there, I'm not too worried about it. Although when you do stuff like this, it gives you sort of a free move because now you could attack it and then I'm forced to address that. And then in that, yeah. See, he has the right idea. I should have just gone, I don't know. But see, now even if you did this, it wouldn't be a big deal because you could double take. They'd have to double stack on there and then do it. And even then, I might be able to do something with my bishop itself, but then again, not really. So the bishop has been actually a liability here. I went through so much effort to try to You know, they could give all kind of checks, but if they do, then I could take that too. Right, I'll just slip. Well, not really. They'll give the check, but then I have to back off, and then now they'll do it like, okay, they do this, but then I take, they take, I still take. So if they double stack, I could still deal with it because they would check, and then they would check, I would take, they would take, I would take, they would take, I would still take. So it's actually still fine even after all that. The one thing I have to make sure I don't do is mess up with my bishop for now. So let's just bring this out for now. I think mathematically we're still in an okay spot though. And the reason why is because, let's say even if I was trying to sack the bishop for it, I still can't even do that because I can't even get it there. This seems like a cute move. Bro really thinks he's doing something, but I don't really see it. Right, it's still not enough because of the king. You take, I take, you take, I still take. And then I still have the leftover bishop that's been useless pretty much the whole game. But now it's going to end up being the X factor in the end. Like, you have no choice but to do it. So he didn't actually win anything by doing that at all. Right, we both traded 2 rooks, and then he loses the pawn as well. So that was actually bad for him. I don't get it. He did it with such conviction, like he was actually doing something. Now, the biggest advantage that the bishop can sometimes give you here is the forced move rule. Right, it's not so much that it's even that good of a piece, and they could be playing around it with the color squares and stuff. What it actually does is, now they'll be forced to make some undesirable move with the king or the pawns, and because of that, I won't have to do that. I could just keep moving my bishop back and forth. You should probably move your king first, though, to be honest. Like, this whole side of the board is maybe not important right now. Right, just what are the chances that they're going to come through and actually be able to do this? And the answer is probably pretty unlikely. You do that if they end Pizan, I can take. If they don't end Pizan, we're off to the races with it. And so you're able to basically be in good shape either way. But again, maybe you should move your king up a little more first. If this was a position without the... If this was a position without the bishop, then you would have done that. You would have, well, but then I wouldn't have wasted that one move pulling it out. But you just move the king and you keep the king on like this side so you can't come through and stuff like that. So now you get to just do a cheeky move, show off the bishop, and just remember it's actually even there. I almost don't even really need it, right? I could just push like these two and they wouldn't be able to... Wait, what? Place piece promoted at position. Okay, I think it bugged out because... What the hell happened? What? So I guess I just took his king. So I don't really know what it's doing. But let's say I just ignore it. It's treating it like that's a queen. It's still registering this move though. Like, I guess I didn't have that pawn there, but why was it saying promote then anyway? I'm so confused. It's treating that like the king now. I don't understand. I don't get it. So I guess I lost my bishop to this imaginary thing. Or I guess I just lost it to his king and I didn't realize that would be the case. But since it's a queen, he can just give a check and probably do whatever he wants. Like, he promoted his king to a queen and took my bishop that apparently didn't have a cover, which maybe it really didn't, but I thought I had just moved. No, it would have had, I don't know. Oh, I guess he did the en passant maybe, and I didn't realize it. Okay, we can just move this one instead. So it's still registering these moves, but it kind of bugged out in the middle there with something in a way that seems to have been invalidating, but it didn't actually cause the game to be undone. Right, like it's still actually registering everything. So it sometimes gets confused with like the pieces, like, oh, you can, I'm using a white pawn as his king. Like, can I switch it now and then will it bug out? And then he moves it here. Like, you can seemingly interchange those as much as you want in a way that is going to be one of those weird YouTube edit type moments where, oh, it's like he can stay connected to both and it's still a draw even despite this, which makes no sense at all. Like there's these crazy ones where, oh, the king is here and there's 2 pawns and they're passed pawns and somehow you can still stop both of them in a way that's really weird. Or they could do it unless you do it exactly the right way. Like you as white, as the one with the 2 pawns, has to push it in exactly the right manner. Otherwise you mess it up. I'm going to keep going, and now it's pretty much promotion time. Even if they trade, it doesn't matter. So they get the help of even the board bugging out, but still, or more so the app than the board. Like, I don't know what the hell it was saying. I guess I can't even show it to you. It was saying that the piece promoted, but as long as it's not a stalemate. You know, here you actually have to press. You shouldn't have to do that, though. Here it wants you to press on the screen in the app what I promoted to, even though I already put the piece down. Like, it should register that properly. Okay, they resign. That's fine. That guy somehow triggered me a little bit, though, because just the way he was playing was kind of weird, especially with how slow he was at the beginning and stuff. So how much elo do I get for that one? That, because this is on the app itself, so it should always show me. Oh, I lost on time. I literally lost on time. Partly. Okay, fine. Good game, bro. You really outplayed me there. Very excellent. That's the one thing, like I said, I feel like Kramnik on that, but it's kind of justified because I don't really care about flagging and online clicking speed and all this kind of stuff. If imagine you study chess your whole life and, oh, now it's coming down to little kids who are faster than clicking it than you, rather than actually being better or knowing what they're doing, and it kind of rewards all the wrong tendencies, right? It still counts and it's still a legitimate format in some way, but is that really what you care about? And I guess by that logic, just don't play the longer formats then either. But imagine Kramnik in classical then, how much he would accuse people of cheating because online, because it would be so much easier. Even ordinary people kind of claim that it's very easy to do, and that's why they don't play classical at all and stuff like that. Okay, see you later. Okay, so today I'm going to do another session of classical where I've been playing classical exclusively on this real life board, which is obviously, it'll transcribe my moves online, but not theirs because it doesn't have that magnet capability. But we've been on a pretty good streak. We got out of the provisional bracket as I played at least a handful of games, like maybe 5 or 6 classical games in the last month or so. And this has just been my return to classical. Before that, I hadn't played it for like a year. So in a way, I was sort of gaming the system and taking advantage of the provisional boost that you get. So I won like maybe 3 or 4 games. I lost like maybe 1, and I drew like maybe 2, right? Something along those lines. And so now I'm like 1770, or I can't remember, but it's showing up as my actual highest rating ever officially, whereas it wasn't before, even though it was my highest rating just because it was provisional. So now it's not considered that, so now we might start getting less gains, but it's a pretty good boost that we got. That's always a technique that you could use, like if you're stuck at 2200, stop playing for like 6 months or whatever and then come back, and then if you win the first 2 games, assuming that's still going to be hard obviously, but assuming that you win those 2, now you'll get like 100 for that and get to 23, and then it'll settle down. So like if you can do that, then why wouldn't you? Like, you know, people can kind of game the system with that in a provisional way. Yeah, let's go ahead. We'll do a classical. Maybe then I'll do like a rapid or something in the middle in between to practice, and then, or not even to practice, but just to take a break, because sometimes it's a little bit too much. So 1771. So I'm going to play a rated classical 30-minute game on Lichess right now. Hopefully it doesn't bug out. Sometimes I like to test it with an unrated game at the beginning, like a 10-minute game or something, but the only thing I'm missing with the UI here, visual feedback, is the actual timer. So I just have to look at it even myself for that reason. So I'm white. We go ahead, do the only opening that I ever do. And I still am not really familiar with notation, but no, I mean, I don't know if this sort of thing would make me play better, right? If anything, it's almost a little bit distracting, but one thing that I have to keep in mind is don't play the opening too fast. And the reason why I've been playing the opening too fast, I feel like it's going to abort or something, or have some issue, maybe because of this, because I can't see always the feedback that you would get from the site. But now here I'd be inclined to take Okay, I take, they take, I take, they take. It seems fair enough. Like, again, my trading tendency is very extreme. That was like my most recent title for a chess video on YouTube. Is just like, when I win, when I'm winning, I trade. When I'm losing, I trade. When it's even, I also trade. Like, but I don't have to do it. I don't have to do it. But the problem is, I'll just do it. Now, this discourages the bishop from development. See, I'm even doing this a little too fast. This could end up costing you the whole game later if this is like a really big oversight. But you can't go in cocky or anything like that. You have to be very composed. And so what you have is the ability to consider that. That's one thing you really got to learn as a low-rated player. Even if you don't know openings or don't study them, you should never try to do anything too clever in them. Like, just accept the fact that, you know, you're trying to just survive it. If I do the knight first, they don't have like a good counterplay. They'll go to like the dark square there, and then I can't move the bishop. It's just annoying. Like, whatever happens here is just annoying. And again, it's always a sign of not so great of a player that you move the queen so early in the game. So yeah, if you go there, oh, but you can't go there. Obviously, I'm dumb. I'm not even calculating one move. So you should guarantee that you get out with the thing, with the bishop, and that's all I want to do. I'm not trying to really do anything here. If you attack the knight, it doesn't matter because well, it kind of matters. But no, because, well, damn, I keep second guessing myself. Like, there's nowhere I can put it that'd be safe. Because if I go there, I'm going to get forked or something. There's no reason to walk into that. If I do the queen now, it creates a whole nother problem because it's going to take like an hour to actually develop this. Right, all like on account of the wonky knight. You could pin it. Like, there's so many things to do with the knight in the opening that, and in general, not in this opening, just in general, because you should almost do like this because, see, the pin is coming to the, well, but the pin doesn't matter because you can always just cover it with the bishop itself. So you could have done it, I guess. Now I guess what you'd be expected to do is pin the pawn with the queen here, and the reason why is because, like, now you could even just come back there with the knight, which is kind of stupid, but I don't know what's going on. If I go here, you'll be forced to go up with that. So the light square bishop has one square to go. So if I go there with the light square bishop, my only goal right now is just to castle, and people make this really annoying. If I go there with the thing, right? I go there and they push the pawn. Now I can take, they can take. I can take, they can take, they can check, or they won't check because the bishop is there. So I go there with the bishop. They raise the pawn. I would take, they could take the queen, and it wouldn't even deny me the castle because I could still take back. I guess the pin is more so what I'm worried about, but if I think I can just do it. Oh yeah, they're playing like way too aggressively and overextended, but if you raise, I take, you take, it's fine. If you don't take, if you take the queen, it's fine. You're going to come in as if with some crazy attack, but it just doesn't matter right now. I think, see, you should always punish them when they're playing this aggressively. Punish them by attacking yourself, but I just don't have the will to really do it. I don't see any reason not to castle, so I'll just do it. This part of the board, I got to be careful because it kind of slides a little bit just because more so my table's not big enough than anything else. The edge of it here is like falling off a little. So now we clearly, if I lose, it'll be because of that. As long as it doesn't register that as like an actual move, though. So now from here, you have the ability to, you could set up for like some sort of nasty unleash here, or even like we'd be double attacking the pawn and everything. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to do with the knight. If he comes there, I could easily take. So this pawn push on the knight is going to be a big thing that happens here. I would take, they would take. So now it doesn't even matter in terms of what he's doing. Like if I just move the light square bishop, it would be good. I could just take, if I go here, again, I'm doing the touch move rule, but I'm not touching it. Like you can tell when I'm touching it. Like I'm pointing, So if I move, yeah, imagine doing this over the board. I'm explaining it to myself in my head, and I'm using arrows and I'm drawing on a piece of paper. Like I'll use the thing that you write the notation on to actually write out. I'll draw a chessboard and see these hypothetical variations and stuff. But yeah, like taking notes but people do actually write some pretty elaborate notes in those, which I don't really get. They'll give like sort of commentary that like, oh, that was a very interesting move, or like they'll they'll make comments. And it seems like that'd be the sort of thing post game, but even as the game's going on, it seems like people do that. Right, I've seen that in some that I found kind of comical. Like, oh, I don't need a whole storybook lesson about it. I just need like, okay, just tell me the move. But if I raise the pawn here, which I'm thinking about doing, then they could bring the queen up to the dark square, but they can't. You don't have to worry about it. They're not really doing a whole lot. They're going to end up castling themselves now, so it was much ado about nothing with their little dinky. They are double attacking that, but it wouldn't be pinned, so I guess it would be fine. The knight there. This is once again the same thing. You don't have to worry again as much about your opponent's moves, because even if I do it wrong, it doesn't really matter in the end. So we'll bring the dark square bishop out. The problem with this dark square bishop position is it's always uncovered itself. So even if you act like, oh, I'm gonna totally like, oh, it's pinning it to the rook, but it's not that it's pinning it to the rook. It's also pinning it to the, like, so you could put the bishop behind and then push this, and oh, you're attacking the knight and the bishop, uncovered bishop. But whatever, I'm double attacking it, so I'd have to move the bishop now to. It's possible that even moving the bishop like this would have been good, because you got to unleash like a triple attack on there, or a double attack before. That almost signifies that he wants to move this pawn, so that if I would put the bishop here, it wouldn't be a threat to pin to the king. That's at least what I was thinking about. So now I almost should be able to take, or I certainly could take if I bring the bishop back. The question is it worth it to bring the bishop back? And I guess in my simple-mindedness, I will do it. I'm down to like 23 minutes. They're down to like 28. So of course everybody's always faster than me. But then if I end up winning, I can't complain. So we're putting tremendous pressure on there. And again, even if I don't know, I make these sort of simplistic moves, which are good, but especially in classical, you should sometimes think longer, or you got to have the judgment to know when to calculate, right? How good you are isn't as important as how willing you are to calculate, or your judgment and like, okay, this move deserves to be thought about for a long period of time. Even good players will sometimes do that. They'll make a lot of early moves quick, and then they'll be losing, and then now they'll take an hour on this move 15, but if they had thought that long earlier, they wouldn't be in that situation, like Alireza against Fabiano with the little whatever opening trap. That, again, I'm not saying I would see that, but clearly by that level it's considered relatively basic, or it's been done before so many times. So, and you got to know when somebody's stacking pieces like that, right? You have to know they have a reason for it. Like, I wouldn't trust a GM that, oh, they just made a mistake, which of course sometimes they do, but like my body language, if I was over the board, like you can hear even my monotone commentary and everything, it's very different than most people. That's why I kind of like chess in a way that like nothing would affect me that way. I do get tilted or angry in a certain way, but not even then. I'm sort of monotone with it, but it's just my demeanor emotionally and everything is very neutral and constant, right? That it's kind of funny when you think about, like, you could be winning, you're the same way, you could be losing, you could be drawing. It's always just the same kind of body language that you would have. So you understand, oh, it's just part of the game, it's part of the process, it's just how it works. So why would I be surprised? I wouldn't be upset at my opponent. I'd just be like, oh, I should have seen that. It's not, it's all just a foregone conclusion how everything works. So he's thinking a little bit. He's going to open up probably that light square diagonal, which isn't that big of a deal normally. It's just maybe the pin possibility that could happen and stuff like that, where there's so many things like, oh, what if I have bad breath to distract my opponent in an over the board setting? Or what if, oh, women wearing cleavage and clothing, there's been certain references to that. What about, oh, Magnus is wearing jeans? Like, that's just more like a dress code, professionalism issue, not so much that it would give you an advantage in the game. Or like, what if you, I don't know, you're farting to distract them. You're closing the door loudly like Gary Kasparov was accused of doing against Vishy Anand. Or what if they're listening to music on headphones? What if you have some subliminal cues in the music that could give you advice? Like, you might think it's crazy, but, like Kramnik style investigator, but like they were accusing that with Gary Kasparov and his ice cream flavors. So you don't think that it's crazy to think that, oh, any little thing could be a cue, right? He would get a different color ice cream based on to tell him certain moves. Someone was telling me that. Like, this is the kind of shit that people believe in a conspiracy theory manner, but it's like in baseball, they say, oh, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, because they're stealing signals and, whatever plays, and everybody knows everybody else's plays and stuff. Like, it's, I don't know, it's just part of the game. Like, it's not. Like, kind of figuring out what they're trying to do and stuff like that. Not cheating in the middle of a game so much like, oh, I'm using the engine, not like that. But all these other ancillary things are very commonly done. So he's down to 24 minutes. So he stopped very long on this move, and yet he's still in a. What was that? I thought I saw something move. Like, weird. Like that rook. Maybe the rook was sliding a little bit. I know, despite this very long think on this move, he's still up on time. Or now it's pretty close to even. And so you're basically in a position to. Like, has that ever happened in an Asmongold stream or something? Since his room is so messy and he does do face cam, you'd see like a rat in the background or some shit, right, of his stream, because he's got all the fast food and everything when you're showing it for that long a period of time. This whole face cam culture is something I always reject, and with something like chess, it's interesting because the cult of personality basis should be very far from a meritocracy like chess, but obviously people embrace it for different reasons. And on one hand, you could say, oh, that's made it more popular with people who otherwise wouldn't care about it. But on the other hand, what chess is supposed to be about and the credit given should be more tied to how good you are. And then you can always have that as a secondary basis, right? That's why nobody criticizes Hikaru for that. Like, oh, he's cult of personality and he's reacting to Reddit posts, but he's also one of the best players in the world, so you can't question it. But this guy might just flag, or he might be coming up with something crazy, but it's still relatively early, so like it could be okay. See, he's thinking about that deeply, and so my whole thought with that is, okay, we could pin this stupid ass queen, but it's just not gonna happen. Like, I'd still do it, but I'm more interested. We'll just keep my V-shaped structure. And the reason why is because, yeah, he thinks that long and I'm just not even giving a shit. Like, I'm comfortable. Like, you got to do a lot of threats in chess knowing there's a line like that from something. Oh, yeah, L says it, like, about we should be prepared that all of our efforts will be fruitless, right? Everything will be in vain. That's how you got to think about threats. Like, you're not doing it because you think it's actually going to work. You're doing it because you're just trying to put pressure, and then eventually something else will work, or they'll have to give something up to stop it. So you do all these things not expecting that they're going to work. You do them expecting that they're just going to bug your opponent a little bit, or something like that. I'm moving kind of too fast and too comfortably in a way that I shouldn't do, but I just can't teach myself discipline. But generally, I still have typically more time discipline than my opponents do. So there is something interesting maybe here, like if I take, they take with the pawn. they reinforce that dark square diagonal there. But there's something with this light square bishop that there's so many possibilities for how it could have been good. Now here's where you got to be disciplined. Like, oh, you could take this if you double stack. Like if I had the queen double stacked, I guess you can't really even do it, but you could take that if you took with that pawn or something. But there's just really nothing happening with this. I feel relatively safe. I don't know. They could set up for the bishop, you know, double diagonal there. And the reason why they could set up for that is because they have the okay, so they're closing off the dark square diagonal fully, which guess why that doesn't matter at all, because we can immediately look at how all that effort, like, oh, they sacrificed that right light square pawn that they were afraid of because, oh, the queen might get pinned, blah blah blah. Guess what it led to though? Now after all that work, they've created such an anti-dark square bishop diagonal, right? Guess what I can do? I can just do this. And the reason why is because now you're forced to trade it off. So isn't that beautiful that you get to... They put in all that effort, and I even put in the effort to make the V-shaped structure, but that serves me well even later once this is gone. So you'll take this. I love how I just, you know, kind of clown the amount of effort they put in to do that. Now, this is a bad rook position, though, that leads to, that could set me back one move. That these are the kind of high-level moves that you can't afford to make. It's not that it's terrible, right? But on account of the trade, that could be like a rule in chess, right? Don't make trades that make you have to move a piece out of the way, right? So in other words, I shouldn't have done that, because now that rook move is going to take one move that I can't afford to spend against a really good opponent. But now you're going to end up double attacking this. Like, I don't even have to do anything yet, but it's really this light square bishop that you have to consider. Like, there's so many things that you could do with it, but I'm just not. So I should basically just pull the rook back and just put it down under here. And it also plays around the dark square bishop is no longer there, so you couldn't attack the rook there. So it creates my whole pink flamingo dynamic that you're able to basically deal with this. So again, I would feel very comfortable that you should be able to draw this position no matter what. And that might be a bad way to think about it, especially as white. But I feel like the white-black thing doesn't even... What? Oh, okay, never mind. I thought it looked like he took the pawn. These lights are sometimes a little confusing. Hey, Singularity, how's it going? Thanks for the follow. So he's going to go here, which I don't fully understand that. I got to make sure I don't drag the piece in that case. Like, if it was my own rook, that would get me in trouble. That totally happened. Like, I'm moving the rook, like, to take something, but then I move it one square in front because I accidentally touched the square in front early, right, as I'm moving it, and it just registers that. So we have this pink flamingo pawn structure that I've proven and shown that it works well even against 2,000 rated players. Like, not that you win because of it, but you don't lose on account of some nuance of the pawn pushes and everything. So it's very, very good, and it has this much thought put into it, at least, like, where, you know, you got the one anchor, you can cover it with one piece, like the one rook. You don't have the dark square bishop to even threaten the rook out from there if it's covering on c1. So you've got a lot going there. But what I need to do is actually develop my bishop, and the reason why is because it's just in an awkward spot. We got to figure something out here. I guess I could check from here, actually, but it doesn't really do anything. The act of them putting that there, I don't really understand what it does. They're still only single attacking it, so if they... Like, if I put my queen behind, then, oh no, they could take there. Then if I take, they'll take the queen, but I'll never put my queen there. I'll just put the rook behind there then. Right, so that's perfectly safe, perfectly fine. Is this some kind of DGT board? Like digital board? Yeah, it's like it's making my moves online for me, and then it shows their moves, like, with the lights, but it doesn't actually move it with the magnets. So it's kind of like what Chess Up would do, I assume. Minus maybe having the screen on the side and being able to queue up like that. For this, you have to use like a phone app to queue up, but as far as the base board functionality, it's not bad. Yeah, I'm playing on Lichess right now, but you can also use chess.com. Let me see. I can do. I'll just move the bishop there. I mean, it's not like I have a lot of options. I really don't get what he's even doing right now. Oh, he's gonna go behind there and attack me, and oh no, I totally won't be able to stop it. But actually, there's a vague. No, I mean, at worst, you could just push the pawn, but I don't really like my laissez-faire attitude here. If I put the bishop there for a little cheeky, stupid threat, they'll push a pawn. I'll take. They'll take. I'll take. That actually would be fine. Like I could do that. I'm just moving so fast. Like this is a classical game, and it's a high stakes rated, affair. Very big deal. I'm at my highest classical rating ever, and I'm just getting cocky and playing like a clown. I'm not really taking it seriously at all. I don't know how I can make myself do that. I feel like I may be more antsy by doing it like this because I feel like somehow it takes a certain amount of time to move the pieces that I wouldn't have to worry about on the computer, but I'm not going to pretend like that's an excuse. So if I can take that pawn obviously on b7, but I'll always do that with my calculation. Like I'll see immediately what I think is good, but then I doubt it. Like now I'm going to talk myself out of it that, oh, they'll trap me somehow, or I don't know, just something bad will come out of it. But I think it was just a mistake. I mean, I don't see anything really crazy that they can do with it. The significance of that move was just to move the queen out of the way. And possibly that they couldn't cover it anyway, other than putting it at risk. So like now, my pawn on c2 is very important, right? That's my key anchor pawn. If they go here, I'm more than happy to trade, so I could care less. I'm actually encouraging that. Right, I get a free pawn. Is that going to be enough to win me the game? Probably not, but there's not really much. I mean, I could still be annoying. I could almost deny the trade, but then, you know what, dude? He's got the open light square diagonal, so I see no reason not to do it. I sometimes hate my style of play, even though it serves me well. It's too lazy. Like, this is what you got to learn if you want to be a better player. Is like, yes, it's good at times to trade and make things simpler, but you got to look for those better above and beyond moves. I probably had like 10 moves this game, maybe like 3 or 4 probably, that were like really good and crushing and could have won me the game, that he's given me opportunities, and it's not that I'm not seeing them. I'm not even looking for them. I'm just like literally satisfied with trading and just doing whatever I feel like. So it's very stupid. So they could double stack attack that. I'm thinking I could double stack here, but the problem is they'll bring the rook first, so then I won't be able to take. Right, when it comes to the queen and double stacks, it's not ladies first, like one of my stupid Spanish teacher type expressions. Like, you don't want the queen to be in front sometimes, because then it'll be the first one to be traded and taken, and then it's not worth it. Right, whereas if, you have a triple stack with 2 rooks in front and then the queen in behind, now it can be really good because, you can just kind of start taking whatever you want. So I almost want to go here with the queen, the f3. And the reason why, I'm down to like 15 minutes, he's at like 21. I wish I had some way of showing that. For now, I'm just letting it speak for itself. I'll buy one of those clocks, honestly, and I'll keep hitting each side. Not that it'll match up fully, but it'll be okay. So let's go here. Now, if you push the pawn, I take, you take, and then I can't take the rook. So maybe I shouldn't have gone there, actually, now that I think about it. They come down, I would take, you would take. No, but I could still take after, too. And I would be threatening a check from there. I could do something weird, right? Like, I could take the pawn with the rook, and then they take with the queen, and then I take the rook. Like, I'm always nervous about making moves like that, because they often backfire, and I don't see the full nuance of it, but you can technically do that, right? So then they can't take, but then they'll do something else and set up for a take, but I don't see how. The way you can often do that is like by giving a check. Like, you would somehow give a check to escape a threat and then punish me for trying to sack something. I'm gonna sack the rook like I'm Levy. Everybody always loves that meme, but it's gotten a little bit old, I feel like. But yeah, I knew nothing about these kind of boards, and then I just kept seeing ads for chess up around Christmas. So I'm like, okay, I'll just get one for myself. But then I was about to buy it, but then it didn't have the magnet feature. So I'm like, screw this. I'll buy one that does have the magnet feature. But then I got baited by this one, which doesn't have it still. Right, but this was cheaper. It's like only 200. But the point is, I thought that this would have it because some of the other ones by the same company do have the magnets where it'll move your opponent's pieces right for you. But obviously, it didn't have that. Like, this isn't the right one. That would be like $600 or $800 for the chestnut move. So like maybe one day down the road, if I become a partnered streamer or something, I'll do that. But it's nice as a gimmick, and it's a great excuse to go back to classical, which I wasn't even planning on doing anytime soon. But it kind of worked out. I was very scared because that first game, if I had lost that first game, the rated game that I played like around New Year's, I had to delete my account if I fell below 16. Like now that I'm over 1750, if I lose a game, I have to do not if I lose a game. If I fall below 1700 now that I've hit 1750, I have to delete my account. But that's only applies to classical. I guess if it applied to rapid, I would already be gone because I got to 17 whatever, so I've fallen below 16 even, so that's way beyond. Like anytime you hit a 50 mark, this is the one I talked about like in 2014 actually, when I think I had, or maybe 2015, but I had mentioned this as a potential format, but I don't think I ever did it. The sort of increment permadeath, where every time you hit a 50 mark, you have to stay above the 100, or you have to delete your account. Okay, so there's nothing really going on here. I could try to go behind and do something there, right, with respect to... They could bring the rook back. I might point, but the rule is if I touch a piece, I do have to move it, which has almost screwed me up in one of these games. But I could just double stack, but it's not going to be a good double stack. That's the problem. It'll be like... Right, it'll be the queen in front, so it won't even do me any good. The rook is comfy sitting there, so now we really got to think. So yeah, I save it for now when I think, which is too late because all the opportunities probably are already gone. Now it probably is just going to be a stale drawish position. I'm up one pawn, which may or may not make a big difference. So the only moves that I'm seeing, like, okay, I could go to b7, and then they would just attack me with the rook. Right? They can't cover with the other rook, but they can cover with the... No, they could even... No. Yeah, they'd cover with this rook. They can't cover with the other one, or I take it. So they come c7, and then I can't do anything. So like, what's the point? I don't know. You gotta have some plan here, see, and I just don't. That's my problem. Whereas my plan the whole rest of the game is just to trade and try to get to this point, but... Like now, if you could knock out this pawn, you could take that rook. I'm just not sure. I really don't know what to do here. It's not that I have to do anything, right? Like, I'm not under threat. I'm not, under pressure, but I just don't know what to do. I might be allowing their pawns to become a little bit too strong. Here's where you have to have some nuance with that. Like, as much as I hesitate to push pawns, now would be the time to actually do it. So my king would be open from the dark square if I push this, but I almost should do it. Or I should even do it to the point where, like, okay, if I double push now, they have to move it because, or I mean, they can't take because then I just take that for free. So the lesson here is the simple fact that you're able to, is the simple fact that you're going to move it up. And then at that point, I could take with the pawn. They could take, wait, but it still doesn't work. See, this is the problem. They'll move it up. I'll take with the pawn. They'll take with the pawn. I'll take with the queen, though. See? And then I can't do that because... Okay. Damn it. So I'm actually more inclined to go like this then. And the reason why is because now that pawn push becomes very difficult, but it's not doing much good for me either. He's moving his king out. Oh no, the lights can be a little confusing sometimes, like I said. Now he's open from the dark square, but not the light square, and just doesn't really change anything. I kind of want to bring the rook in front. Like this position is so stale that I'm almost willing to do this. I'll move the queen, and then I'll move the rook up, and then I'll put the queen behind. Like, I don't know what else is happening with this, so I'll just do it. His one rook sitting there seems all cute, but it's kind of out of the way probably. It's not very useful there. He'll put it there. It's important not to move too fast sometimes here, but this is the only weakling pawn that I see. And it is the... I really don't even see what he's doing. It is the... what is this? D4. There was this one video I saw that was had a funny mistake. Like, it's Magnus Carlsen versus the best female player ever, Judith Polgar. And then it's like... he says Magnus makes the first move D4 or D5 when really it's D4. It's like, wow, that's a really aggressive move because he's playing as white, right? So how could he? Wow, that's an illegal move. It's so good that you can just, you know. So a lot is resting on this one pawn here. Like, wow, he really made an epic move that we've never seen before. D4 on the first move as white, or I mean D5 on the first move as white. So the thing here is, okay, I could double stack from here and try to take. But the problem with that is then, okay, I would take, you would take, I would take, but then you would still take the one on the bottom here and trade and everything like that. But I'm still covering two at the same time, so... But no, something good can happen with this pawn if you... like, for example, now I could push this and with impunity. So if he raises, I could take, you could take... I could take, you could take, I could still take. And if you take mine, I could obviously double take. I got to do more histrionics, like I'm playing in Yu-Gi-Oh! The way that, you know, they would flip it, do the card in such a dramatic way, like I play my Blue Eyes White Dragon, and then he'll draw it so passionately, and then there'd be all these effects, and then he like wave it around, and then put it down with like such authority of, dude, like it's a fucking card game. You push this down. Okay, that's pretty sharp considering what I was intending to do. I can't even double take actually the way that I was suggesting, because do I take a page out of his book and do this? Because now I could create like a triple stack where I go in there and oh my god. It might actually be the best path because this is such a close... So if I was to take this, then I can double take there. But he's not going to let me do it. So now you got to make sure you stay... Oh, I already blew it. Or not really, but sort of. Oh, God. I messed up. See, I made a major mistake and I saw it, but... he didn't even see it. I even said I got to stay covered on there because they could have taken. Then yes, I could have taken, but then they'd have the free precedent to take a pawn and they bust my little pink flamingo beautiful structure that I have. And so now what I was almost trying to do is create a triple stack here. And the reason why is because, okay, if I can dislodge this pawn, I could really do some damage. So I'll go here and it's like, oh no, I blundered. Well... the problem is, there's always a problem. Like, you think, oh, if everything goes well, this will be good, but it's not. The problem is now that you won't have enough cover for this pawn still, because, right, if I go to the triple stack, now they'll take. Then when they take, I have to address that take first. So if, oh, I sack this and then I double take, in fact, now it would be really worth it, because if you did it now, right, that check would also be hitting the queen. But these are still out of order. Like, it's so stupid. So again, would the triple stack be worth it? And the answer is it's not worth it. And the reason why... I'm down to like 8 minutes. The reason why it's not worth it is because if I do it triple stack, they'll take. Then I can't take back. So it's just a waste of time. I don't know what to even do anymore. I was kind of moving like I'm going to move the king, but I give up. It's a draw. It should be a draw. He's got like double my time, though, so I don't care. There's no other way I can cover this thing either because they missed it even. I see I get restless and I try to do something I don't have to do. It's not like they did anything to earn that. And then I end up trying to this is actually the way the classical will look. It's like, oh, chess is a draw when it's played perfectly. It's also a draw when in a long time format. It's also a draw when you have evenly matched players. Like, it's also just always a draw, so fuck it. It's almost like I might want the queen to come through. Like, I have no idea what's happening. I'll try to maybe move that rook out of there. So if you take here, I take... There's really nothing happening. Which, again, I wouldn't mind that nothing's happening, but I don't like the fact that... I don't know, just how long I've taken to do this. So maybe I'll I'll double stack the rooks there. That's attacking the king, which I don't really have to worry about too much either. They might come down like to there for some purpose. They can't move that pawn though, so it almost shouldn't matter for right now. So let me do this move first. I sometimes tunnel vision on certain things. Like, I'm worried about what I'm doing, but what about what they're doing? So now I could double stack and ignore that because now I'm so adequately covering. And the reason why is because they would take, I would take, they would take, I would still take, but then I would go, yeah, who needs arrows when you can just do it in real life? I'll go here, I'll double attack that with the rooks now, but it still doesn't actually do anything. What do I expect when I do a trade heavy style of play in a long time format against presumably an evenly rated opponent, even though it doesn't show you their rating on here until the game is over? Or, yeah, or it'll show you, I have to like go on the site to actually do it. So now I will do this, but he could do the triple stack and I'll just come back. So now, oh no, I blundered my pawn again, but I actually didn't. But again, you're doing this, you can't really even do a triple stack now. You have a situation where I can't move the rook in front now though, even if I was trying to do that. So maybe I should just move the king, since I'm just looking for filler moves. Like, I genuinely don't know what to do with this. I should try to still exchange a little bit, but it's just not happening. Again, if they do the rarely seen triple stack, then you can also just bring the rook back, obviously. It's almost like if I brought my king there, then it would give me some freedom to move finally. Right, the king covers that pawn, but that's dangerous because you're bringing your king in the line of fire in a way that you maybe shouldn't do. Right, but if I did that, it would lock it down where it requires one less cover. Maybe I should be adventurous and try to do it, but I don't really want to. And how would I get the rook out of there then? Like, I don't even understand. I think maybe we're feeding for a threefold repetition, or I don't know what we're doing. You know, leave it up to him, even though he's black and he's less inclined to try to do something like that. So I have 6 minutes, he has 15, but I can start thinking on his time, I guess. Like, it doesn't matter, really. The moves are so stale and predictable and just stupid. But he's trying to actually make something happen. I would take... I could seemingly double take. This side of the board will be a bit open. So if I take... he takes, I still take. I can't turn down the opportunity, but I also don't really need to do it. I take, he takes, I take, seemingly for free. Then you're not really going to be able to. So now I'm going to open up something bad from... I'll just do it. I'm a moron anyway. This could be very bad. Could be very dangerous. Maybe I shouldn't do the second take. Like, that take is good enough, and then... But then they're going to do it anyway, so... See, now all they have to do is bring some rooks to that file that maybe I could match that as well. If I take... Now, I mean, I'm just going to do it, but I'm kind of... After all this time and effort that you put in, like, why are you playing like this? Presumably, it's not bad for me. Because the rooks are not in a very accessible position, to be fair, but it's, wait, what? Oh, I keep misinterpreting the move. You gotta just see if something's opened up for you now. So you'll bring the rook maybe to there. But I don't care. Let's just do that, because what we can do with that is now they don't have the ability to move the pawn, so I'm putting a certain amount of pressure. Right, it's pinned, so I would take, they would take, and in the act of doing that, I would, they'll check from there. I don't like relying on my king for this either, but okay, I have 4 minutes, I better just hurry up. So if I go here with the rook, it'll cover against the queen. And so I'm fine with that. So we're pinning, we're sort of attacking here. We could give a check from here, but he could take there. I'd be happy to trade queens. I'd be happy to still capitalize for a draw, convert for a draw. What is this? What is this? That's fine. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I'm almost trying to trade. Like, I don't care, but okay, he's actually doing it though, and I have so little time. So like, why would you even bother? I kind of like where my other rook is, so I'll actually take it with the king, and then he'll he'll take, and oh no, it's a fork, but it's not, because whatever. So I'm up really probably one pawn, or I might even be down by the time this is over. But so he did something that's very favorable to me, and the reason why it's favorable is because I had so little time that you shouldn't trade like that then. So he's moving the king there. I'll just do this. His other rook is not in a very ideal spot, I'll say that. I have 3 minutes 45 seconds. I like where my rook is. I could create like a double stack and do something nasty with it, but I also don't want to give up the thing here. You have some sort of pass pawn cheeky shenanigan going on, but let's just give a whole bunch of random checks. And again, the other rook could come out to play too, I suppose, but I don't know exactly how to do this, so he has a limited number of options and moves. Why wouldn't I be up more pawns? I'm up 1, 2, 3, 4, so I'm up by one pawn, which is the one pawn we won like earlier in the game. 321, you come to here. I could go to here. I'm just trying to trade a bit more, I guess. So you can take there. You can take there. It's totally reasonable move to make. I get it. I can afford to even lose that pawn, but it's okay, dude. Is he actually gonna see? Okay, dude. Okay. I don't care. I can't take with that, otherwise he takes the other one for free. I mean, again, wait till it comes down to time. Like, it's okay, bro. It's really okay. Now I have connected past pawns. I'll still just do it though. I mean, hey, you can always flag me. No matter what you do in life, you can always flag me. I don't care. It doesn't mean that you're gonna actually win, but or they're not even connected past pawns, but they're just they're just past one pass pawn that has a connection to it. 242 left. I can give again a bunch of whole checks, and I can even cover the anchor pawn here with the guy. The king. I see. I almost touched that, but I don't know what to do right now. I should. Damn it. I can't figure out what to do. So now they're gonna push that, and I'm boxing myself in. I give up. I give up. You're so good. It was a drawn position the whole game, and then you start to do stupid shit. Like, he missed so many good things throughout the game, and then at the end, I guess it just becomes easier with less stuff on the board. So if nothing else, I would flag, but let me try to focus, I guess. You go back. And so now I can't do anything with that. We'll just go here. It's going to be mate probably somehow. I want to move my rook out, but he's just not letting me, so I can't do anything. He'll come here. He'll check there, which I don't understand. Because I'll try to set up my own little thing here with the cover. So like he'll come down to there. I can't block. And then if I go under, now he'll check with that, but I can still hold it off, I guess, for a little bit. Even some of these trades like that allowed this, I walked into. Like I'm willing to do that trade. I knew it would be a pass pawn, but I don't have one somehow, even though I was up a pawn. So his king is limited in its movement. Give the check, he'll come there, he can check there, and then he'll either promote or do a mate. He'll do this. Now, I don't have to do that necessarily. I mean, I can't do it. Yeah, this one was pretty frustrating because there's nothing. It's a draw. I should have just played faster. Like, I don't care. Play faster in classical. Just do whatever you want, man. Now, is there something that you can do with this or what? Like, if I go here, seems like just a, a lot of rep. Oh, you take a free pawn. Go ahead. All right, I'll just try to spam checks myself. All right, I'll just play for him too. Like, why do I even bother? We go here. Can come in like that maybe. Goes back. I'll do it again. Like, it was not a one-sided position at all. It was very even. I was even up upon the whole game. There's nothing instructive there aside from, I guess, time really matters in a. That's just mate right there even. Like, I see it before they do, but I'm losing to them. Like, I can't. I don't know, man. I just can't do it. So I wonder, he's 1805. Like, there's nothing about that game that was impressive at all by either of us. So I guess, trying to flag people in classical is actually the way to go. Because nobody knows what they're doing and just, I don't get it. Like, there was zero opportunities that I could have taken outside of probably the early game that I obviously rushed through for some reason. So, I mean, that's where it's always deceptive, too. You'll say, oh, but this player didn't get flagged. But, like, do you think that... You know what I mean? Like, yes, I didn't get flagged, but I basically got flagged. Because there was nothing in that game that, if I had enough time, even without enough time, I basically... I'm doing stupid things, but I just can't believe it. That's really pathetic. Let's see if we fell below. I doubt that would take too much away now, especially since we're out of the provisional area, but... We'll see what rating am I at, and then maybe I'll do another one. And maybe I'll just get rid of this fucking Lichess account because obviously I can't play at any moderate level. I'll blame the board even, like, oh, it's distracting me in terms of time. It doesn't feel like I'm taking that long as what the clock is suggesting, though. I don't know. Yeah, I created a very good drawish position, and there's no... Like I want to hear what that player would think. Like, oh, what a great win! I feel so satisfied. Oh, so you did some like really creative mate or something interesting. No, I did literally nothing. I flagged them in a classical game. I played a drawish way, which again I'm doing that too. But it just there's nothing there. Like, he didn't do anything. Even whatever he was doing late, I see it immediately. Even sometimes before him. Like, so the game is sort of playing itself. So it's just my fault for being too slow, obviously. Which again, this format you would think would be less of a factor, but yeah, let's do one more, but I'll do probably a rapid game in the middle here. Let me see also how much I lost from that. Probably a lot still. I mean, I don't know what to tell you with that one. Like I'm comfortable I'm comfortable losing a game like that because there's nothing I can do. I mean, I just play faster. Like there's nothing to learn. There's nothing to say about it. Like he didn't do anything. He wasn't even trying to do anything. 1745. So that's not too bad. I lost how much? Like 26. Yeah, let me take a second, then I'll do a 10-minute game, and then I'll do one more 30-minute game. Again, we're playing kind of higher rated opponents, but it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm getting higher rated myself, so it's fine. Okay, so let me try to do a 10-minute game. I try to do these not on Lichess just because, like, oh, I'll try to use the square off app, but then it ends up not really working well. I could always just do an unrated 10-minute game. Let me just do it on there, actually. We'll do, or they don't even give you 10 minutes. And you know what? I think I tried doing it, right? 10 minutes, 0 seconds, but it ends up not working. Yeah, see, it's even, oh no, it is showing me now. Wait, but now is it unrated or not? Okay, so this is a 10-minute game on the chess. Game aborted, I don't know why. Damn it. Yeah, okay, never mind. The 10-minute unrated rapid game with chess, which I'm 1500 now, but that's not really indicative of anything. Well, just that I was on a bad stretch, obviously. So what you have now is the ability to consider that I'm higher in classical than I might peak in rapid, but whatever, they're about the same, or in some way people might say one is easier than the other, but I don't know, like less people play classical, that's for sure. But that doesn't mean it's not hard to get. In a way that might make it harder or more competitive, I don't know. Let's try to do this with the knight, just kind of mirror back a little bit, but again, don't play the opening too fast because that can get you in trouble. So he's ready to castle as well already, I mean. So now we have now there's no like fried liver threat, but it's always interesting to see like what the hierarchy is, like which of these should I move first? And the answer is I don't really know. Like now if they develop the bishop, then the pin becomes an issue, so then I want to go to like h6, right, which is exactly kind of what I have to do now. So I'm always thinking reactively here, but then I end up messing up because I'll miss something or I'll try to overreact and kind of this is the knight. Okay, I'll do it, and then the pin wouldn't be possible anyway because you have this the pin's not possible because you have this knight blocking it, whatever, as well, but I did the pawn move anyway. And now one thing you also want to do, maybe I sometimes rush to castle in a way that I don't need to, right? Like I can make him, keep him guessing, and then I might castle queenside, even though I never do that, and I clown people who do it. Like it's just pretty much always a bad thing to do, maybe in faster time formats, but 99% of the time you're just not meant to do it. And here you have the ability to go back a little bit. So this is only a 10-minute game, unrated, so it doesn't matter, but let me try to... I don't get what it is with the speed. Like, I'm just so slow all the time. This probably makes you take like a second or two extra, especially when you start blitzing out moves in a way that, you're playing like back-to-back moves quickly in certain segments of the game, but in the end, you don't really... What is wrong with that? What? Okay, I don't know what happened. I thought that's what happened, but I don't know. What is wrong? I don't get it. Okay, so it's my move now, and then I will. We could create this V-shaped structure on account of the light square bishop itself. You go there, everything's safe. But no, I mean, I played that one generally how I'd vouch for. Maybe there were some opportunities earlier on, but philosophically, I can't really learn anything from that. Just like I have to be faster, I guess. And if you can do that, you'll be in good shape. But like, I'm not gonna flag other people necessarily. But imagine that, like, oh, a classical game comes down to either a draw or actually flagging your opponent. Like, that's the only way we can get a win because it's so stale and there's nothing really that we can do. And you might say, oh, there's some above and beyond opportunity, but it's not, because yes, there might be, but if we were capable of seeing that, we'd be at a higher rating than what we are. So they could take with the knight, I would take back. If they take with the pawn, I would just leave it. I should be able to take this pawn, actually, because they can't take with the queen. So actually, in fact, I can definitely take it because we also, or no, I don't have the bishop take, but, and you might think, oh, they'll pin it, but it doesn't matter now because something bad could happen. Like, I should be castled if I'm going to do it. Like, you know what? Let's just try it, though. It's like, oh, they could pin it with the queen, but it doesn't matter because it's not in a position where that actually is relevant. And the reason, or I could even unleash it, like, or do the knight, like, good move. But see, now it doesn't matter either because I can just move the knight back, period. Or I don't even have to, I can just castle itself. They would take, I would take, and then I'd be covering with the bishop on the knight. So everything's good with this position. I'll try to maybe talk less even, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter too much to me. I'm down to 6 minutes. They're at 8 minutes. I really don't feel like I'm being that slow, but again, it's not on account of the board use. It's just normal. Like, I'm always slow. Even when I'm playing on the computer, I'm always typically down on time. So they can do that, which doesn't actually do anything. They're not pinning the other knight into anything. They're just kind of, if they can threaten it again, I'd be in trouble. No, I wouldn't be. I could just move it. Do it here. Just go back, and then I can try to bring the rook to the open file here, and then they have like a semi open file here. So their rook could come to the F file, maybe do some damage. That's always something I try to open is I could almost trap their bishop now. I really could if I just move the knight. That would be the next step. I could almost like take a free pawn, but I won't do that, but I'll try to just set up to do it, period, like this. Where now I could trap the knight, and I could also take their knight to open their king, right? Mess up their pawns there. So there's a couple good moves you have to try to do that. So they're actually giving up the thing, because if I push it now, I push the A pawn, they go back, I push again. Oh no, they have a pawn covering though. Never mind. I push, they go, I push. You need like another one. Another cover on there. So let's just do that. We open the king. I like messing up the pawns like this. What is this? Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm seeing an imaginary move. Wait, what's happening? I don't care. I'll just do this anyway. So they go back. I thought I would have had a thing, but I don't. And any cover I give will not be adequate either, because you could just take the bishop itself. I mean, yeah, the bishop itself. They might try to double stack here, like with the queen, and double attack my knight. But it wouldn't matter, and they're not actually trapped as much as I would have thought. Or that was dumb. I should have done it with the knight, obviously. Or I don't care. Take with the knight, and then we get to realize the fact that my pawn structure is a little bit busted, but all I have to do is go to a5, and I'm happy with it. It wasn't the pink flamingo thing that let me down either. It was my own, maybe my fixation on it hurt a little bit, but honestly, my pawns were better than his. I was up a pawn. Mine were kind of connected, more cohesive. I just start making, not even bad moves, just like rush moves, and is the best I can do at that point of the game. So you don't have anything going on for now. It's always hard to find a square to even put a loose knight on. Like that knight on c6 is just sitting there. Like, I'm not trying to do anything with it. I'm just trying to get it out of the way sometimes. You're trying to take over the open file. I'm going to end up flagging and not even knowing it too. That's the problem. I messed up that one, but it doesn't matter because you... Yeah, I could take with the knight now to prevent the stupidity of his rook coming there and threatening me. Why not? Why not, bro? Like, what do you mean? I hate when I'm clearly not doing anything wrong, but it still messes up. Okay, he's here. Then we pick it up. Then we do it. I guess I kind of accidentally went on the square ahead of it. Again, it's not like you can make an illegal move or a wrong move with your opponent because you're not going to change what their move actually is. Come here. Yeah, see, that's exactly why I didn't do it with the queen, because you get to... Wait, let's do this as if... Oh, no, I was going to do it, but I didn't touch it. I don't care. Yeah, I'll do one more classical after this just because, but I don't like the way this is going. That one only cost me like 20, so we're out of the provisional area, but I'm not playing very well. But then again, I didn't really do anything wrong that game. It's just like I can probably get away with playing like that most of the time. I just have to be either a little faster or some of that time I should have used earlier, I guess, and then maybe I would have gotten more of an advantage and saved my time later. But if not, then I would have lost on time anyway. Like, so I'm settling for a draw and just like, I don't know. At the very least, these people seem to be pretty well versed in openings. Like, with the speed at which they move, I can't really argue with that. That seems like it does something, but it really doesn't. Or I'm trying to think what the knight can even do, and just get it out of the way. So you could take, I could take back with the queen. You're double threatening on the other knight, but it doesn't matter because you obviously have the cover as well, double cover. This is gonna come here. This could be a little dangerous, but I have the knight there to protect. See, here's where I'd almost want to bait a trade. But the problem is that I can't do that. And the reason I can't do that is because there's no... I don't know, like I don't have enough cover to do it. I guess I could do it now. If he stays in that file, I could go there with the queen. They would take, I would take with the knight, and then they won't even take back. Like, I go, they take, I take, and then we just leave it. We don't even finish the trade, or I could still bait the trade with the rook, but again, it's not that my trading tendency is bad, but it's just sometimes I take it too far. I'm too lazy about it. Even here, I'm struggling on time. And the reason why is because I I'm at like 2 minutes. He's at like 5 minutes. I could bring it now to the open file with impunity because of the cover of the knight makes it invincible even against like a double stack or whatever else you might do. You go here, which I don't really care about. You go here, which is going to be obviously trading territory. If you don't do the trade, I might create a double stack with the queen behind now. All these sort of just reckless, meandering moves. The way I play chess is so like, you know, I'm just trying to reduce everything down to the simplest form. So it's not a question of whether you know what you're doing. It's just like you don't need to know necessarily what you're doing. Right, make it less about that. And so now you have the ability to recognize that this knight is there for seemingly no reason at all. Let me go here. You're attacking both knights. How do you cover both? You could just go to like F2 or something. Go here and then bit of a nightmare situation that we find ourselves in. And my approach to it would be just like I'd stay back and just like not even do anything. Be a right position for almost them to sack one, and that allows you to basically sack one because you get to, I don't know, go here, you attack the queen. I could give a check now on the back rank. And now, unfortunately, I can't take one despite this check here. And the reason why, okay, I give up. These moments maybe are what do cost you time. Alright, so it's a check. You're attacking both knights. And now I could like push one out with the pawn. You go here. The one, let's go here. Now you could arguably win a knight with this, but you probably won't somehow. I don't know why. They're so resilient here. I have like 48 seconds left. Yeah, this is tough. Maybe I can't handle this with the time factor. Because again, in classical I've been doing fine, but rapid is hard. Right, even here I'm struggling. Not saying it's entirely because of this, but just... Or no, he's even still doing it. Where he's covering still with the queen, so I don't know why I thought I would do that. It's going to be a repetitive drawish type of position anyway, but now you don't even get to fulfill that because you get to like he's not doing, this is what every game is going to be like. They're not actually doing anything, but they're still winning. 37 seconds. Like, how am I this slow? I don't even care about the outcome of this game as much. It's not even rated or anything, but it's just dumb. Just try to trade it, then we deal with the nightmare endgame, which probably will be inconclusive anyway. You almost got it pre-move, or like how they put their hands down. Absolutist chess player tendency. You just keep your hand always up or always ready, right, to save yourself time. And then you get to do this, which is covered. You'll go ahead, you'll give a check. You'll just do it, give a check. I don't give a shit. Just do it. If it means we get to trade queens, I don't care. Now watch him be all disciplined and then he still won't do it. "22 seconds, yeah, you really can't worry about time with something like this on top of my already slow tendencies that I have. Right, that's always my biggest weakness in general. And so now... Sometimes these people play like they're not really aware of time, though. Like, they don't... Like, that last guy let me off the hook a little bit by trading because he was able to... Like, I did that as fast as I could, but it still took me much longer than it would on an engine, or I mean on the engine, on a website. So yeah, now I don't care about even winning or potential trapping a knight. Like, it just doesn't matter because it's a waste of time. This would be basically trapping the knight, if not for that one square. You try to trade. I'm down to 3 seconds. Yeah, like I objectively can't play like this. It's so stupid. And then I'll make some error. Don't get mad, get even. Wait, why does my name show up like that? It shows up as like OQG, but that must be on the app itself. But obviously on Lichess, it's my full username. All right, let's do another classical game, and I'm not too happy with the way this is going, but I'd be darned if I use time as an excuse. But I swear I was even taking my time. Like, I don't get what's happening. How is it this slow and this difficult? Not that I don't complain about that, again, playing under normal circumstances, but something isn't right. Which is even a good principle that sometimes is the reason why I do well, is because I am, oh god. I am so slow, so I'm able to capitalize, like, just, yeah, I didn't even know what DGT meant when he asked me, is it a DGT board? I'm guessing digital, but I'm not, like, familiar with this whole scene, but it is at best a cool novelty gimmick, but still probably not worth it. I mean, you could say, oh, because I'm streaming, and arguably, yeah, like if I didn't stream, then why would I bother doing this? Right? I don't even play stuff too much off stream, period, but let alone go out of my way to do this. Yeah, let's do a classical game. It speaks for itself. I'm in the danger zone if I lose like maybe 2 games based on what we saw last game. I just can't even, like, come on, man. Like, what is the magnet for? The magnet's supposed to keep it from sliding when you're using too small of a table. It certainly doesn't move the pieces. So the extra pieces we have here are the queens for promotion, which I've never had the issue of having multiple queens, but if you did, I'm not sure how that would work. Like, the 30-minute rated, I'm 1745. Rated classical 30-minute game with chess. And these queue times sometimes take a little bit because they're, okay, it didn't take too long. I'm white. Goes here. Or it's showing like a phone icon, like he's playing on his phone, but from Lichess. Or like maybe it always says that. I guess I don't really pay attention. So if he goes up, I could take, they could take, I could go here. Still try for a trade. Again, don't play too fast in the opening, my rule number 1, but also play faster later so I don't flag or end up losing because of the threat of flagging. Because yeah, if I don't make a mistake but I just flag, then people say, oh look, you flagged, and that's, you know, maybe sympathize with that even though it's part of the game, it's fine. But then, or I like that, like I had beaten somebody, like a 2000 player, and they're giving me time odds and they're all confident and they're farming me, and then the one time I beat them, they get a little mad, like, oh, you know, it's because of time. Well, obviously it's because of time. Like, you've been beating me even with the, you know, so it's not fair to say that. Like, obviously, like when Alex Botez beats Magnus, it's like, oh, well, she only won because she had the time advantage. Well, yeah, duh. But it's like, you know what I mean? Like, he was beating her the rest of the time with that time advantage. So my advantage as white isn't that, oh, I get the initiative so I get to attack, right? But it's I get the initiative so I'm safer, in the sense that I'm able to ignore and subvert any issues with, like, the opening and the headache of that. Yeah, it's like glowing for some reason. Let me do this here. Open up some space for that, and then we get to do okay, you bring it to here, and then you get to bring why is that glowing just all the time? Normally it'll do that if you did something wrong, but So let's try to control the pace of this a little bit, at least more. And I don't know what rating I'm playing against or anything, but I guess I just have to try harder. I mean, there's nothing to say. It's just getting stupid with if it really is coming down to time of all things. And like the whole point of this format is to not worry about that. And then it still comes down to that. But yeah, this has been almost exclusively what I'm doing as far as chess. I mean, I can still do those tournaments, like I said, rated rapid games and tournaments for just the fun of it and that permadeath piece set thing. But whenever I've been doing chess lately, I've just been using this, which is fine. But this is meant for classical, and that's meant for obviously rapid. These lights will just never go away, I guess. So what I want to do with the pawns is I want to go. I guess I don't know actually now, because the bishop isn't. Normally I would push the pawn on the b file, but I can't do it because of the way that his knight and that pawn is there. So like if I push it, or no, I could do it. I go there, they would take out. No, I have to. No, I'll go bishop to d2 then. You have this here again. That's lighting up, but it's not actually causing me an issue with functionality. So normally that never happens where you and like one of the rooks sometimes get cut off with the way that this webcam is not very good. So my bishop is there again. At least here I'm feeling like more confident in the time area. That like as white, it does make a big difference because as white I can kind of dictate it. It's very rare that as black they're really putting pressure and that I have to worry about it and I have trouble castling. Sometimes they'll get me later with a kingside pawn push or something, but like even once I'm castled. But when I'm black, now the opening can take me like 10 minutes to try to worry about some trap or subverting thing that they're trying to do. We're both at 27 minutes. This guy's name is Best Player from Earth. It's very important that we win this. We get back on track to where we were before, and obviously, or no, even if I draw it, you know, that's what I was playing for the last game. So maybe it's the bad karma that I end up losing, but it's I don't know. I just can't deal with stuff like that. I would rather lose normally, like if you beat me positionally, but I hate when I feel like, oh, this person's not like that guy was not capable of beating me. Right? It was impossible. There was nothing he did that showed that he was even remotely capable of beating me. But yet, because of time in a 30-minute game and because of whatever, like, okay. Right? I'd rather, oh, he did some crazy sack or brilliant move and then he wins and I didn't see it and I wouldn't have seen it within reason. I can accept that, but like there should be not much going on here, but he's taking his time. I gotta find like a better seating position too. This can get kind of tiring when I it's not exactly the most sophisticated setup, but I still like it visually. And it's kind of at an awkward angle, like a sideways angle, but I think this is the best way. The one advice someone was saying was that you should raise it like higher, which I don't fully understand how to do that either with what I have, but I think the angle of it is fine because pretend like it's a tournament, right? I'm sitting here and my opponent's sitting there, so you'd be seeing it from both sides. The alternative is that we could be sitting on this side, that side, and then you see like the middle of it, like you see it from one player's perspective, basically, right? So you'd be looking at white, looking at black, but here you're seeing both sides equally. So like even when you watch clips of a tournament, this is typically how it is. You'll see them sitting across from each other, and it'll be showing you from the middle. So I don't think that part is wrong, but I think obviously the clarity, the webcam, the height of it, maybe all these things are wrong, and obviously the level of play is very wrong. Yeah, you got to use their turn to save yourself time too. So whatever they're gonna do, I should almost already be able to predict. So I have the ability to develop the knight, which normally I'd put the knight on that square, the d2. But because of this position and what I had to do with the bishop, or I might still do it, but I'll go to c3 with the bishop, and then if they push the pawn, I could take, they could take. I can't take though. What the hell? Why is this so hard to do? So if I put the knight on c3, then what happens? I guess they could push the pawn. I would take. They would take. They would take. They would come up. I would take with the pawn. They would take with the pawn, and then I'd have to move it again. Like I have no good squares to go to. I can get like an AFK win, or it could just mean this move's of great consequence, but it's really not, because you have a situation where it's just basic development. They can just develop the knight. Like I'm not seeing anything really crazy that they can do. This is why trades are so important though now, because I can't even develop comfortably without something happening. So I could, you could basically create a pseudo bishop pair if I just put the bishop on that square. Oh, you know why it kind of works though? I could still put the bishop on c3. This is kind of a good nuance. I could put the bishop on c3 because, oh, they'll push the pawn to attack it, right, on b4. But it doesn't matter because then I can take that pawn, so they have to worry about that. The g7, right? So because of that, I could just ignore the pawn threat. I'm thinking about long term, like, oh, I'm trying to keep the bishop there forever or for a long time, but if I put the bishop there, they push the pawn, I take the pawn, they take the pawn, then I can't take back because it's still covered by their dark square bishop, but it doesn't matter. So I could still do it. If they raise the pawn now, right, maybe something different would happen. They raise the pawn to b4, I take, they take, then I can't do anything because it's covered by both the knight and the bishop, and even if I double attack with the queen, it wouldn't be enough. I'd have to consider some other path, but yeah, it might be a bit of a bait play that I do it and then they think they can push me out with a pawn. Whether he's actually AFK or just gone, or whether he's thinking I don't care, because at least he's giving me a time advantage here. So I'm at 27 minutes, he's at 22, which is unusual, which either means I'm playing way too fast, or in this case, he's just taking forever and being slow and AFK. So I typically haven't played 2 classical games in these sessions. I typically play 1, and sometimes it goes bad when you try to do that, but right, like you get tilted, or if you lose, or you get exhausted if you win, or like, yeah, I could, I should make this like a tertiary title sort of thing. If you never play 2 chess games in a row, if you win, you're overconfident. If you lose, you're tilted, and if you draw, you're exhausted. So no matter what the scenario, you should never play a second game, right? You'll be too exhausted from a boring, tedious, kind of repetitive draw that still took a lot of energy. You'll be overconfident, cocky because you just won, and then you'll lose. You'll play too fast or something, and you'll lose, or you'll try something you shouldn't try. And then if you lost, you'll be tilted and kind of mad going in the next one, and then you'll lose because of that. So, yeah, you should just never push your luck like that. That's one thing that's pretty awesome about having done so much chess, is if you look at my YouTube, actually, the titles of some of these videos, right, that don't necessarily always relate to what exactly is happening in the video, because they're just like 5-hour combined segments of like several episodes of chess, several days of me doing it, right? But they cover so many jokes and quotes and topics and different things to do with it that I like, right, that I've said over time or thought about or whatever. So it's kind of a good excuse to do that, like my little short story writing, streaming stuff that I would do back in the day. It comes out that way, that nothing fits better than like trying to come up with clever, funny sort of titles and different quotes, like the little Judith Polgar story that I did. When I didn't even know that much about her, I guess, at the time. I was just using it as like a novel subject matter, like the original Queen's Gambit, but it's really not. Right, it was just a short little trifle. I did a lot of those on a lot of subjects, but it wasn't it wasn't a particularly great thing, but it had a couple good quotes in there. So he's down to 19 minutes, and I don't get what the phone icon is all about. Like, obviously, they're not playing on the board. Like, with me, it shows the board icon. Like, they could be playing on a computer, though. Like, how does it distinguish that when it's on Lichess or chess.com? Okay, so they do finally move. And that light is still going. So yeah, let's actually go here. Right, what they did shouldn't change anything, but you should never move that fast either. They could push the pawn up there, right, to block it. But the more instinctive thing is, oh, they'll just do, or they could just move the knight in front. They could do a lot, but I'm hoping that they made this move that seems obvious, like, oh, b4 to attack it and push it out, which doesn't seem that bad. In fact, at first I thought even that would be the right move, but right, in the long term, that would be the right move. Like if they move the knight now to f whatever, so they're ignoring. Wait, what? Incredible. Yes, you win. I guess he resigned. That is incredible. A way to recover. Should I do another one and push my luck? But I definitely will not. As I even said, that's amazing. The fact, oh, he was like 1,500. So how much did I get from that? Then I wonder. Probably not very much. Damn it. Like at least it's suitably easy given that. But the 1759. So how much did I get with that one? I got 14 after losing 26. So maybe I should, you know what, dude? Since that one ended kind of quickly, I definitely shouldn't do it though, huh? I kind of just want to get back to where I was originally. I think that's good enough. Should I? I don't like to push my luck. Like nothing good could happen. Whatever, that's good enough. See you later. Okay, so today I'll play yet another classical game. So yesterday I won one and I lost one. The one that I won you can see here. Actually, I left the ending position, just very early, easy game kind of thing. He just blunders this bishop take, and then he was only like a 1,500 rated player, but I still got a good little boost from the provisional thing. So the guy I lost to before was pretty frustrating because that's like my template sort of game, where it's a drawn position. It's clearly a draw. Like there's nothing to even think about, and it comes down apparently to time, which I genuinely just don't understand. How in a 30-minute game, you know, that's going to happen and that's going to be the deciding factor. Like, I'm almost okay with it, but that's what I got to work on, I guess. Like, there was something in the end game I looked at, like where I had the two rooks. It's kind of hard to explain this way, but you had basically, I'll maybe try to show you a little bit here. I mean, everything's very hands-on, which you might think this is a better visual feedback, but in some ways it's worse. Maybe just because of the visual quality or whatever. Yeah, that was the only thing that was taking the whole game, but that was a short game, the second one. But no, what happened was, I love this when you win or lose in the opening. Like, is that really a big deal? Like, imagine taking the game seriously and losing or winning in the opening, but also Fabiano beats Alireza in 9 moves. Like, it's just stupid how the openings work. But no, it was a position like where, let's say his king's here, right? His king's here, his pawn's like, I don't know how to show this. His pawn's like there, right? So I thought, okay, he could hide behind. One of my rooks is available, and then the other rook is here, or something. Yeah, like this, right? Not exactly this position, but ignore all the other pieces. But I gave a check with this rook, and that let him escape, and then it ended up being, more of a draw, and then he ends up winning on time effectively. The mistake was my rook is here, right? So this is a good learning principle moment, at least, that I should commit to memory. And I was covering the anchor pawn, whatever, like here there's a pawn, and then his rook's attacking, but I shouldn't have worried about that, because you got to think this way, which again, with that little time, I had like 3 minutes. I give a check with this rook, and now he escapes behind his pawn, and then that ruins the whole thing. But if I had given a check with this, you can't go back now. You can't go back to this file, so now you go here, but now I can keep giving checks, right, with this one. I have it in my head backwards, like, if I give a check with this one, right, if I give a check with this one, oh, you'll go and you'll attack the other one somehow. But you can't do that here because obviously it's sort of a, I don't know, it's hard to think in that moment, but that's a very instructive moment. Like, that would have won me the game. Apparently, it would have forced me to trade the rook. At least I wouldn't have, yeah, forced him to trade the rook. At least I wouldn't have lost. But I was so worried and fixated on my anchor pawn thing. Yeah, if you have the opportunity, you know, you're blocking them out of this file and they can hide behind a pawn. Check with this one, not with that one. It still wasn't bad and it wasn't losing. Again, at no point was that really losing. Again, it comes down to time. So I hate that dichotomy of when people say that, like, oh, you didn't get flagged. You blundered your queen with like 1 second left. So technically you didn't get flagged. Okay. So next time I'll just sit there and wait for the clock to run out and not blunder my queen. Like, it's still getting and it doesn't matter. You know, a win is a win. I'm just saying, like, if you make a mistake with 1 minute left that you wouldn't have made at any other point in the game, right, and you played generally well the rest of the game, it's not fair to say, oh, you didn't get flagged or it didn't come down to time. It did come down to time because, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I make a blunder with 10 seconds left, but oh, look, you lost positionally. You lost in the position. No, like, you wouldn't have lost in that position unless it was because of time. So it's the same kind of thing, but I don't know. Sometimes people treat it differently, like, oh, if you actually flag. But again, imagine flagging in a 30-minute game. So we're going to do Lichess rated classical 30 minutes. I'm 1759. My highest was 1771, which I just lost to the first guy yesterday. I lost like 26 to him, and then I gained like 14, but it was from the second guy. But it's because obviously that guy was like 1800, so I lost 26. The other guy was like 1500, so I only gained 14. But hey, I don't mind lightweight matchups like that, so I'll just play one game here. That's good enough for me. So I'm white, which I think my performance as white has been substantially better just because I can play through the opening a little more comfortably and not worry about it, not get stuck in anything. Bro is gonna abort. Come on, man, don't do that. I demand some compensation for that. There should be like a penalty for aborting. You lose 1 rating, they gain 1 rating. Like, honestly, if you abort against them, even just that much, just something, because that's bullshit. You know, and I've done it a couple times by using this app and this board because it kind of bugs out a little bit, but I'll still accept that I could lose just 1 rating. That should be a good penalty. They lose 1 rating, you gain 1 rating for aborting, and you get heavily penalized in terms of you could get banned for it and stuff. You always see that message in the chat, like, warning, if you abort games, you can get banned. But then at the same time, I almost like pre-moved that before it fully loaded. Like, I want to see the one time where that's the final straw that breaks the camel's back. Like, don't say it when they do that. Like, see, I feel an urge to play fast in the opening, which I shouldn't do, but especially that was one of my strengths in classical, that I wouldn't do that. Like, I would play very slow, even in the opening. But my point is that, see, when that first one lights up, that's the touch move rule in effect. Not that it really is enforced by this, but I'm sort of enforcing it. Now there's a danger here that, oh, if I push this pawn, right, the D pawn, then no, but he can't do it. Never mind, it's fine. Like, he could trap my bishop, but it'll take a couple moves to do it. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just said that. Okay, dude. No, but you still won't have cover for that. So I'll take this. What I'm saying is it'll never say, oh, this was the game, this was the final game that they aborted that actually got them banned. Right, like, I will take this knight without hesitation. One of my core tenets, I'll always trade 1 knight off. Now, I don't care about even the entire nuance of the position. See, some better player here would say, oh, but this is bad because of such and such. Like, that part doesn't matter to me because you already have... you can always give like a cheap little check here, but I don't really feel the need to do it. All I'm saying is it'll always say, oh, warning, if you abort, you can get banned. But I want to see one time that they abort, and this is the game that actually bans you, and let the opponent know that, so you can be satisfied that, like, oh, this is the one that actually took them out. So here, I don't really know why I'm thinking so long. I almost want to give a check with the queen, but you got to think in the long term, is that really where I want my queen to be? And the answer is, I really don't, so I don't know. So it's a reasonable position. They're blocking the light square diagonal, but that pawn doesn't seem particularly great. Okay, just go back here. There's nothing to worry about. Look how fast I play, though. This is my big mistake. They've got 29 minutes. I've got 27 still. But, okay, now there's no pin chance for that, so I don't have to worry about raising the h-pawn as I often do. But I'll just go ahead. I'll castle. Oh, shit. Sometimes this is sliding around a bit. It is a very important game, as every game is, but also, you know, just to try to get back to where I was, 1771. And, of course, I don't even know the rating of these players as I'm doing this with respect to the... Okay, we'll just go here. I'm trying to think, like... Oh, see, there's a big danger now. If they take the knight... No, well, if they take the knight and then I take with the queen, and they have the rook there, since my rook's not covered, that could potentially be an issue, but all I have to do is develop the bishop then to make that happen. And the reason why is because I'll just go like this. That's the one really deceptive nature of the game, though, is the fact that it always shows these people playing on phone, but presumably they could be playing on phone or PC on Lichess. Like, it's just to indicate there's an icon whether they're playing on the phone or whether they're playing on the board, like this board, which obviously they're not if they're playing on Lichess. Although I guess they technically could be. But no, my point is that, you know, here you're kind of forced to take because of the simple fact that if I bring the knight to e5, right, you take, I take. I've got to get in the habit of looking for something better, though, especially now. Like, we're out of basic development. Everybody's castled. Now, if I double stack it, it doesn't matter because you're going to have this... you have the triple cover on the back rank, so it's not like, oh, you can't move that bishop. I'm going to do this move, and the reason why I'm going to do it is because you have the ability to... They have to take because otherwise I'm double attack. Well, you don't have to. You could still do the 6 for 6 rook and pawn for bishop and knight, but you have the ability to do this because whatever, to shut down the double attack, or maybe you won't do it. Okay, fine. So now my dream comes true as opposed to a nightmare that we have 0 knights on the board. We get rid of even theirs, but arguably the better situation is they have 2 knights and you have 2 bishops. But that, you know, that shows you right there how shitty the thing is. Now their diagonals are better than mine, which is unusual that you're able to do this. And the reason why it's unusual is because of the simple fact that how is that possible? Like, they're blocking off my diagonal, one of mine, the dark square, but I'm not blocking off either of theirs. So there is a certain value that they've amassed here. Now I could double attack this nonetheless. And now it's very dangerous because now what you're putting yourself in a position is that you could very well get mated here, but it's not that simple. But you know, you have the bishop. You know what I'm actually gonna do? No, I was thinking I'll move my queen to h. No, I could still do it too. Like, oh no, I'll get forked. I'll move my queen to h5, right? So we're covering that, but we're also triple threatening that. The right, with the bishop and all that. And then, oh no, they'll fork it, but then I'll take the queen. But it won't work because it'll be like, I go there. No, it would work because I go there, they fork with the pawn, but then I take the queen for free. So they're forced, okay, they take the queen, and then I take with the rook, but the pawn isn't there yet, right? The pawn's not there. It's like McCavity in that fucking Cats movie that they keep saying that line over and over. McCavity's not there. Fucking, I didn't know that was Taylor Swift either, who was doing that one song. The point is I go there and then they raise the pawn, but then I take the queen for free. And it is covering that as well. So this is a fascinatingly dangerous move that you shouldn't ever do in a classical game. But you raise the pawn, and then I just take the queen. If you take the queen, I just take. And then it doesn't matter because of the simple fact that you're not forking anymore. You do have the bishop pair, but it's less meaningful. And, you know, if you pull the queen out, But how? 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 It doesn't change anything. You just don't go behind it. Otherwise, you get unleashed upon, right? Because you get to. I don't know. They're gonna do is like double sack or like look at this. Yeah, they're gonna like now I'll move if I move behind. I'm in trouble, right? If I move there, I could be in trouble. They'll take the other pawn too and give another check with the other bishop. No, but then I could take that one, whether I want to or not. I could take that one and then see now they could fork though. Now they got the free forking move. But I would still take the queen for free. So if they do the sack again, like this is the kind of shit we're getting into. They'll do the sack again with the other bishop. Then okay, they're not doing it. Let me just think though if they had done it. I'm curious because they would have taken, I would have taken, then they could have checked. I don't think it would have been that good, honestly. Now I'm attacking the bishop itself. And now there shouldn't be any like crazy value. Okay, so that was much ado about nothing. It seemed like a big deal, but it really wasn't. So let me try to establish my threat again, I guess. That you could just... I almost want a double stack on here. And the reason why is because his H file looks kind of juicy. So what I want is, a good move for them could be to go here to the G3 square and sort of hold that down, but I could always offer a trade with my bishop. See, now we're in a comfortable drawish position regardless of what we're playing. We could be playing at 1500, we could be playing at 2000, I don't even know. But this is pretty comfortable. That might have been a bad move by them. So now I would be compelled to attack there. I would take, they would take, I would take, they would still take though, so it doesn't matter. So now what you're going to do is... you can't really go in with the rook. You'd have to double stack, and that was maybe the wrong rook to move. You're trying to compel the trade there, but I'm inclined to actually turn it down. And well, see, I can't help myself though in the trades. Like I always just want to do them all the time. There's something interesting if you were to like, if I brought the bishop here, I'd be pinning, and then, oh, you can't do anything because I would take the bishop for free because you can't cover it. But the only way that that works is if he leaves it there. And I guess if I don't do it, I'm double stacking. Like, let me think. Okay, I would do it, and then... I'm at 21 minutes, he's at 28, incredible. Like, okay, I move the rook, then he double stacks. But then if he double stacks, I bring the bishop there, but then you're already attacking there. So I'll just do it. It's like you want to look for something better, but you're just not good enough to do it. So, or maybe just nothing is actually there. You think there is, but there's not, and it's just dumb. They can unleash check, which would allow them to not even take this for free because, whatever, it's still covered. And if they do bring the rook there, they're in trouble because I could sort of do that and then take for free and even back rank mate. So I hope they try to match the rook on the open file because they don't have an adequate cover for there. They might bring the bishop to c5 or c6 to cover it. Yeah, I like both of these formats that I'm doing with chess because it's a sense of finality. Like if I only stream or play for an hour, I'm still getting like one full epic classical game and putting full effort, so I don't mind that it's long because that's all I'm intending to do and I'm committing to it. And then the other thing that you're doing is you're also, we both have a bishop pair and a rook left. It also allows you to do that with the tournaments. Like I'm playing one tournament in rapid, you know, for an hour, and that's good enough. So now everything about this seems relatively okay, but it's a question of, I don't know what to do with my rook necessarily. And the reason why is because I don't know, you have that one good diagonal attacking that piece there, the f7 pawn. So raising the rook could be dangerous. Like, oh, I'll try to... anything I try to do, I'm not too happy with it. So I couldn't explain to you, for example, at this point, what I'm trying to do at all. I have no idea. So I'll bring the bishop here. And I'm just more so happy with the draw once again. But if you play it right, I could maybe materialize something. That makes a lot of sense because now you can deal with the back rank situation. And the reason why you can deal with it is because now... Okay, I'll still do this anyway like I was thinking about doing, but... Oh, shit, that would have been bad, but... I'm moving too fast. So now there's a thing, like, if you think about trading, you could... But it's not like I couldn't just move this back anyway. So there's something like if I could pull out the bishop, I could back rank mate them. But the problem is I can't do that, and the reason why I can't do that, even if I was to offer it, like, okay, oh no, I blundered my bishop there. It doesn't matter because they could just take the rook then. And I could still take it back, so maybe it's worth doing. Something bad is going to happen. So let me think it through all the way. Like, I'll put the bishop there as an offering. If they take it, I mate them. If they take my rook, I can take their rook, but then they take my bishop for free. So why would I even do that? Yeah, I hate giving... Well, I don't know. If you're not sure... If you're not sure, you shouldn't do it, is kind of the thing. Bro actually pre-moved. I mean, it's a fairly obvious thing to do, but now we should start eating up their pawns here in a way that... You got to think ahead here a little bit in a way that I'm not doing. So now, if I go to B... I go to B8, then they push up, then I attack, and then they can't cover... Or they can. So, like, I should preempt it and then do it. And, like, so I'm preempting it in a way that allows you to now, if I go to B8, you're in trouble. You might double push it, is the other option. Like, you go here, I'll just go here, but you can still double push it. Okay. Now, if I attack that, it kind of holds you down a bit, but... it allows you to... Okay, this could be a little tricky. I mean, again, it should be a draw, but I can't guarantee it. That might have been the best chance to win a pawn, but I couldn't figure out exactly how to do it. What structure should I even be trying to go for? If he pushes this pawn, it's with cover. The particular B6 pawn. Red, so I can't do anything to it. And then I have the ability to... I really can't figure out what he's playing at or what I'm trying to do. There really is no win here. Obviously, unless he makes some mistake or unless I make a mistake. There's no way to play around the bishop colors either, so this is a very interesting thing. The king could be valuable, but it's also like... You can just kind of bully it around a little bit. Like, if you want to trade. I might be more comfortable, actually, with only one bishop somehow. I kind of like that better because you're able to simplify it a lot. There's some sort of pawn push that's going to have to happen. If I push to B4, they would take, I would take, they would take, I would still take. If they don't take, I could maybe double take. So I'm going to do it. They take, I take, they take, I still take. And it could split their pawns and mess them up. Again, none of this is really high-level thought, but when you have this much time, right, you've gotten to the end game with like 20 minutes left, 16 minutes left, right? And they've used like 3 minutes. So I don't know who this guy thinks he is, but bro is nuts. You're playing a 30-minute game and you use 3 minutes and like... however many moves this is. We're basically in the end game. Like, bro is playing 5-minute blitz and accidentally queued up for classical. Like, why are you doing that? Like, even if I win, I feel like, oh, it's only because you did this. Only because you did this so fast. Like, you really think I could beat this guy normally? Like, how? Like, when I beat, whatever, like a 1900 in rapid, but I beat them in classical... I couldn't beat them in rapid, so that clearly shows you I'm doing something right, even if it's just time discipline. And the point is, at worst, it should be a draw, but now I'll turn it into something else because I'm a clown, and I hate these moments because it is sort of uncompelled, right? It's an unforced outcome. It could be a draw. You could just play it boringly. You could easily get a draw, right? You could easily do it, but then I won't because I'm trying to play it with honor or make it more interesting or whatever. And it's like, you should really think about this more deeply, that this is a lesson in calculation. Like, okay, if they take, I take, they take, I still take. If they don't take, I could take in a way that splits the pawns. Like, I could take and double take. Like, I'll take, they'll take, I'll take, or I'll take, they'll take, I'll take. Oh, that could be actually more crushing because, like, which take is better? Okay, so I take on a5, they take on a5, and they're covered by the bishop, but then I take the other one, and then I'm immediately attacking on the other one too. So they can't cover both. But I guess I'm not attacking the other one. But either way, like, no matter which one you take, it splits the pawns in a way that I would take, they would take, and then I would still take it. I guess it's better this way. Like, it seems like the same situation, actually. If I take on a5, they take back with the pawn. If I take on... And then I can still take the pawn on c5. Or I could take on c5, they could take, and then I could take again. So, wait. In one case, I'm taking on a5, and then I'm taking on c5. Or I'm taking on c5, and then I'm taking on c5 again. So either you're left with an a5 pawn. Well, the position is the same, so I can't really decide whether one's better. As far as what to do first, I guess you could see hypothetically... Okay, they're not even doing it. Now they could go and oh no, it's a passed pawn, but are they real? Okay, dude, okay, dude, okay. Like, you really think you can do that, though? Like, my bishop is covering there already, and now what I can open up is the ability to take his pawn here, because you shouldn't be able to cover it, the D pawn, but the problem is then he'll be able to take my other thing. So I'll go to e5, then he'll go to e7, then he's attacking that pawn. But then if he takes, then I take that, and then I'm attacking the other one. Like, I want to do it, but I also want to account for the cover on this one, and I can't seem to do it. Okay, if I go e5, they can't cover that. They could kind of cover it by going to f6, but I'm attacking that, then they go to e7, and then they attack that pawn. Then I have no way to cover it, so I take theirs, they take mine, and then I should take theirs again. I'm already there, then they go there. So I take, they take, but then the act of them taking allows me to take again. But they might just put... I don't fucking know, dude. Oh, you know what I should maybe do? I can't figure it out. Just... Okay, I'll just go here. Alright, so the thing is, my... But how do you know, bro? How are you so fast? I won't turn down the chance to do that. I mean... Okay. Even the nuance to which this might mess up your pawns is interesting, but I think if I bring my king to the other side now, I could be in a very strong spot. And the reason why is because that's the only logical thing to do. Like, just do it. So they could connect those two pawns, but he can't push it really too far. And the reason why is because I can put my bishop on a2, or even just cover it, you know, whatever. And so now you're going here. I could switch these to the dark square, but also he can't even attack it for now. And so you'd have to go behind, which you can't even really do. Maybe I'm a little too complacent here, but I'm also not sure how he can target it. And the reason why is because you're trying to trade that, but now I don't have to really indulge you anymore. Or maybe I do, I don't know. But my king is going to reach it before anything else. In fact, that might have been bad, because now what you get to do is... I'm targeting that. You can't cover it. Oh, you can always... No, you can't cover... Wait. I think my king is there, though. Isn't my king right there? Like... My king goes down. They go there. I go there. I'm playing with fire here, but I feel like their overcommit could be overzealous here. Now I go here, so now what do? You can't possibly cover it, and then I could always double attack it now. So you're gonna lose that no matter what. Right, and you can't come behind here, so even though those are on light squares, I don't see how you get to them for now. It could be a mistake later, but... Oh, shit. Okay, let's do this. Okay, I fucked up. What fell? Okay, so he moves his king there. He's trying to target my pawns on the other side. But before we let him do that, let's do this. Now, if you take... I don't have to take with the king. I can take with the pawn. And then I should be able to march my ass back there. It doesn't even matter. He's promoted a location. Is apparently a bishop. Now it's like my king's going to be so far away that I won't be able to affect it, or I don't care, but you go here, you go here. So now, are you seriously going to be able to do this? But how? What was that, man? What was that? Okay, I had plenty of time to think about it, I guess. I don't get it. He could have maybe taken both then, or he'll still be able to do it. I give up. You're too good at end games, or you're too fast. You're playing like fucking light speed. Like, just forget it. Like, how the fuck do you even do that? And I probably could sit here for 20 minutes and do it myself, or figure out something better. So I guess what you would do there is not take your king too far in the other way, but I don't know what I'm playing against, you know? Like, all these drawn games, like, honestly, I'm too good to lose in the opening or the middle game, so I just have to study end games. Honestly, I'm at that point now. Like, literally, every game is decided in some minute way in the end game that makes no fucking sense. So just sit here for 20 minutes, and I had like 15 minutes left. I guess 9 minutes now. Why is it my move? Oh, that made no sense really how that happened. Like, I don't get it. Like, I really don't get it. It seemed like, oh, I was either winning a pawn or it's just cleaning up the thing, but I guess I shouldn't have brought my king that far, and I didn't have to, because there's nothing they could have done then. So once again, it's sort of impatience, and he even trolled and promoted to a bishop, I guess, with the last move. Right when he knew I was gonna take it anyway, but oh yeah, it'll get like impatient and light up the only legal move that you have with the king. Right, like it's... I want to see a stalemate on this board, which is maybe possible because this guy's so fast that he might miss it, but I don't know what to tell you. I pretty much just give up, I guess, because I can't deal with these people. They're too fast, they're too good, just... I'm out of my league, I guess. It makes no sense. Like, I should have sat there another 10 minutes and thought about it, but I don't remember. Or again, I should be more lazy and more draw fiendish, because that's what's gonna happen. with respect to, that was almost a stalemate. Either I had winning chances or I had drawing chances. There were no losing chances. There was nothing in there, right, that he compelled any outcome. The one passed pawn there that, oh, it seemed like he's doing something, didn't actually do anything at all. And the reason why is because you you have a situation where, or whoops, I'm acting like that's my pawn. It's a situation where, or I should start doing that tradition where you put the kings in the middle of the board, but I don't get what that signifies. If it signifies that one won and one lost, or how they just do that when the game's over anyway. But or maybe they do it when it's a draw. Like, I don't even know all the etiquette. I've seen plenty of games of people playing, but I don't really know about that particular mechanic, like of whether you put it on the. None of this is even necessary, but okay. Okay, okay. Wait, what? I'm just imagining that he did that because I see one light on there, yes. Or is it bugging out, or what happened? Could be over. Wait, how can I move? Don't get mad, get even. It was sort of bugging out. It made it seem like he made a move next to it. And it was giving me a chance to move. Alright, so I lost. Let's see what his rating was. He was 1776. And I'm not too happy about it because, again, it's another drawn position that easily, I guess I try to actually force an outcome and do something interesting, but you just can't play like that. Makes it hard to sort of analyze these, or maybe it'll, like, visually for you to see it at least. Even if the stupid app does it, I mean, I can do it on Lichess itself. It's the same issue that that chess exclamation mark game had. Like, you can play on Lichess, but you can't use analysis, whether from Lichess or from the game or from something else. Like, I lost 24 from that, so I'm at 1735. So there's a real risk that I would have to delete my account, because if I lose like another 2 games, right, that would happen with respect to the provisional situation still happening. So generally it seems even. Let me try to look here at some instructive moment. Maybe I can show it. All this seems pretty basic. So it's minus 3.1, 4.1. So at what point was this really, maybe moving my king that far would constitute it? Telling to move my king a little bit. I think he's sort of winning, but it wouldn't be enough to win. Or it's a draw. I go there with the king, right? So let me try to recreate it. His pawn's here. I go there with the king. I'm here. And then his bishop is there. Like there. My bishop is here. So ignore the king and stuff, but I mean the queen and stuff. So now he goes whatever with the king. What do I do that's wrong here? Or am I even playing? I don't know if it's showing me my move or... So I move the bishop here, and that's a big blunder. So you're not supposed to do that. What are you supposed to do? Just to move like a random pawn, which shouldn't have anything to do with anything. Or maybe it's going to be like that. You're going to buy... I don't know what it is. Like, what is it that you're supposed to do? It's a draw. It's a draw. Okay, okay. You were supposed to do like this. You're supposed to like block him out of going there, probably. And the way that you can do that is this is an unbelievable. I wish I could show this a little better, but let me try to recreate the whole position just because this is kind of worth looking at. Uh, This one is over on like d4 here, and then you have the bishops in the correct positions. I have a couple pawns here. This is an unbelievably ridiculous kind of thing to do, though. It's gonna somehow stop the king from coming in, even though it doesn't make sense, right? That even to even attempt that, because you have this, you have this. This seems to be the correct position. You also have a pawn here, apparently. So now what is it telling me to do? It's telling me to actually do this, where what the fuck is that shit, man? All right. You're trying to go here. So I assume what would happen is if the king tries to come up, you would basically sit the bishop here. So now, like, you can't come there, and then if you go here, you could still do it, though. I don't really get it. Forget that pawn. Okay, you go here, and then he's giving up on going that side, even though my king is too far away. So we sit the bishop there, and then we bring the king, and then we push. What the fuck is it doing? You push the pawn. Oh, then every single thing in that diagonal is taken care of. Then you go here. You could take this pawn at any point. Now you take the pawn. So somehow I want to see this path, though. What if you try to move the king at the earlier stage where the king is here, the thing is there? So now I'm going to play it out and see, like, okay, you're trying to go here. Then he brings the bishop down. Then, so this is what you would actually do. So you'd sit it here. Now let's say you go back here then. You go here, now you consolidate there. Then you go up onto here. So you can't come through, and then I could always... So it's still a draw in this case. So that's a level of nuance in the endgame that I'm just not even getting, because you're somehow trying to create a situation where the king can't come through, which is pretty unclear, right? That's not pretty easy to see. And also, so I thought maybe my mistake was, bringing the king to the other side, right, over here. I should have just kept it there, which maybe that could have been a drawn position as well. But the other nuance is, even if you're there with the king, right, even if you're there, I'm not wrong for bringing it there, but then I'm wrong for allowing his king to come in, or trying to offer the trade of the bishop there, like trying to go here and do that. You should have somehow used it in a very nuanced way. This is not something I understand at all, or like would really see in the course of a game. The pawns are like this, right? And so I have no notion that I can stop the king from getting in there. I have no idea how you would think like this. You're pushing this, now the light square bishop can't target it. Obviously, I know that. But then you go here, you stop him from going there. Then what if he goes there? Then you think to go here. Then he does it again. You could try to bait for a threefold repetition there. Even then, you could try to do that. Then it's not... I would deny the trade or something. And then if they don't do that, you're actually supposed to go here, consolidate that. But I still see a path of them somehow doing it. So if they try to go here, you just leave the bishop here for all time. And then you can never take this. So it should be a draw. But that's a little tricky, I have to admit. And this is what I'm losing to. I guess I'm getting a little higher rating. So maybe it starts to make sense, but like this is a little bit nuanced you would expect for this level. I'm not sure that I believe it, but it basically shows you I'm not losing in the opening or the middle game ever, and I'm not really losing in the end game either, but sometimes on time, or I guess here it feels sort of self-inflicted, but also I don't know, like there is some value in this. I guess I've seen that in the last 2 games that I've lost. It's 100% end game play. That the one with the rooks, I should have checked with the other rook. This one I should have tried to stop the king from coming in. I wasn't even thinking about that though. I was thinking like my king's active here. Why can't I destroy something or promote? But somehow I couldn't. Like let's say okay, he does this. I take right now. I'm not thinking about this side. I'm thinking about shouldn't my king be able to do something? But actually it can't. It can't come through here. It can't come through there. It can't come through there. Right, the bishop will stop it. So it wasn't as good of a position for my king activity as what I thought. Maybe I was right in bringing it there. I wasn't wrong to bring it there to try to stop it here, right? And giving up the bishop cover somewhere else. Like I don't need the bishop to cover there anymore, or whatever. He has the cover, but that was okay, right? There's nothing he can ever do to save it here because it's a dark square. But my mistake was not worrying about this side at all. I wasn't even thinking about that. I didn't even think it was possible. I thought 100% I would get mine promoted before his, but I somehow just couldn't do it. Like, maybe you could have done something like that and tried to push it, but I don't think this is even the right position as far as the pawns and everything. Yeah, I've lost 2 games there that are, or no, I lost 1, then I won 1, then I lost, but we're in the danger zone because we've gotten over 1750 and now I'm at 1735 and each game is giving or taking like around 20. So if I lose 2 games now in a row, I have to delete my account on Lichess and then I'll basically just fucking quit chess because even my chess.com thing, I'm waiting to get to 2000 on here in classical and rapid before I'm allowed to unlock that. So this is a very high stakes situation and I just wouldn't have thought of that, right? Like that's one of those things like I'd think of it now. I wouldn't even have the confidence to believe that I could do that because it's like what if it seems to make sense when you look at it, but it doesn't mean I'll do the right thing when I'm trying to do it myself, right? I'll make a mistake, but I don't know. End games are sort of deceptive because they seem so simple, like there's so little on the board, but then you have to play them so accurately and that's when in a situation like that my fiending for a trade is my worst enemy because I'm going like this to try to be like, oh, I'm gonna double take this and blah blah blah, and I'm trying to trade. There's no need to do that. You should just go to the other side, I guess, and just I wasn't clear on how hard it was for my king to actually take some of these pawns and push here, and I wasn't clear on the danger of his king coming on the other side. I didn't think that would be an issue at all. Okay, see you later.